The main character, Orion Richards, introduces their background growing up in Kredon on the US West Coast. After their mother left and with a workaholic father, they relocated to Europe. Despite these challenges, they maintained a positive outlook and adapted well to changes. Orion excelled academically in Europe and developed interests in technology, sports, and computer graphics. This led to an amazing opportunity, a student exchange program to finish high school back in their hometown of Kredon, known for producing successful graduates like Elon Musk and Warren Buffett. The narrative takes a humorous turn as Orion's friend interrupts their attempts to brag about romantic success, revealing the truth about their lack of dating experience. Their friend Chang encourages them to embrace a fresh start in the new town while staying true to themselves. The exchange program allowed Orion to invite two others, Chang and Annie. Annie, a childhood neighbor, shares a similar background of often absent parents. While close friends, they maintain a purely platonic relationship despite others' assumptions. The group discusses their living arrangements in Kredon. Nancy, Orion's former babysitter, will host Orion and Annie. Chang will stay with a different family, the Lucindas, who have a daughter named Michaela. Everyone expresses excitement and some nervousness about the new arrangements. The conversation shifts to Eternum, a revolutionary virtual reality MMORPG created by the mysterious founder and Ulysses company. The game requires a $2,500 neural implant and has become incredibly successful, making Ulysses the world's most valuable company, worth $31 trillion. There are mentions of Eternum's darker side, including illegal activities and controversial content. Despite these issues, the game operates under its own rules and maintains massive popularity as users can fulfill their fantasies within its virtual world. A conversation begins about someone purchasing a neural implant for gaming. They worked multiple side jobs and saved money specifically to buy it as soon as the game was announced. An argument ensues about whether they play too much, with accusations of spending 8 to 10 hours daily gaming and being addicted to Eternum. A tense discussion about friendship develops between Orion, Annie, and Chang. When pressed to choose his best friend, Orion initially hesitates, but ultimately picks Annie, explaining they have been through too much together. To soften the blow, Orion promises to buy Chang a beer and assures him he is still his best male friend. The group discusses their upcoming arrival at their destination and meeting their host families. Chang reveals plans to reinvent himself as a charming ladies' man in Kredon, moving away from his previous hopeless romantic persona. They joke about his multiple new nicknames, like Chang the Casanova and Chang the Charming. The group arrives at Kredon Station. Annie expresses excitement about exploring the town where someone grew up, though they mention leaving at age 8 and never returning until now. They coordinate meeting Nancy, who is supposed to pick them up, and split up to check both station exits. Chang meets Ms. Garcia, his host mother, who mentions her daughter Michaela is at the other exit. Initially disappointed that Ms. Garcia doesn't match his expectations, Chang becomes completely smitten upon meeting Michaela, who is revealed to be an athletic weightlifter preparing for national competition. Chang departs with his host family, completely love-struck by Michaela, despite her not matching his initial expectations. He declares to Orion that she is the woman he will marry, abandoning his previous plans of being a ladies' man. Orion waits behind for the others. While waiting at Kredon, observations are made about the peaceful atmosphere and preserved old infrastructure like phone booths. A mysterious phone call occurs in one of these booths, with the caller knowing the listener's name and cryptically mentioning Calypso and the doors of Escobar before being interrupted by an impatient woman needing to use the phone. A heartwarming reunion takes place between Nancy and Orion, with Nancy expressing amazement at how much Orion has grown from the skinny kid who left town over a decade ago. They playfully banter about height differences and Orion's physical transformation, noting his gym routine. The interaction shows their strong previous connection. The conversation shifts to discussing age and appearance. Nancy deflects questions about her specific age, but receives compliments about looking youthful. She credits yoga classes for helping her maintain her wellness both physically and mentally. The exchange demonstrates their comfortable familiarity with each other. Annie joins the group and meets Nancy in person for the first time after previously only speaking on the phone. They express mutual delight at finally meeting face to face. Nancy then informs them she has prepared rooms for their stay, though warns the bedrooms are modest in size. Nancy shares her background story of working as a babysitter while completing her thesis. As a single mother with 2 daughters, Dahlia and Penelope, the flexible babysitting job proved ideal. She later transitioned to a laboratory position. The conversation reveals the deep connection formed during those early years. The group heads to Nancy's car, with mention that her daughters Dahlia and Penelope, though initially reluctant to come for pickup, would be excited to see everyone again. Nancy acknowledges this as typical teenage behavior, remembering her own rebellious phase. Upon arriving at Nancy's house, memories flood back of afternoon playtimes and regular dinners. The house carries significant meaning, with Nancy emphasizing it will always be a home for them. The property impresses Annie, who is used to apartment living in Europe. The house tour reveals Nancy's artistic side through her paintings, though she mentions not having painted in years. The environment feels unchanged, preserving memories of younger Dahlia with pigtails and preteen Penelope. Dahlia and Penelope make their appearance, though their excitement seems restrained. Both quickly become preoccupied with their own urgent matters, Penelope needing the car for a modeling opportunity, and Dahlia requiring running shoes for training. The evening winds down with Annie and Orion planning to settle in and unpack. The conversation turns to their shared interest in the online game Eternum, which Dahlia apparently plays extensively along with her gym activities. This common interest suggests potential for future bonding. The conversation begins casually about playing together on gaming servers, with mentions of names like Lions of Denaria and Zala's Moon. Someone is feeling exhausted after traveling by plane and train, unable to sleep during the journey. They decide to head to bed without having supper despite the early hour. A bedroom on the second floor, the last one on the right, is assigned. The room is remembered for its abundant natural light. Someone named Annie is offered a house tour while another person named Orion heads to bed. There are mentions about the importance of rest before the first day at a new school. The bedroom has been converted with new furniture, including a bed and spacious wardrobe. While not the largest room, it offers adequate space. There are plans to decorate with posters or maybe add IKEA bookshelves. The room feels cozy thanks to surrounding trees, and despite predictions of rain, the sky appears clear. A strange and unsettling sequence begins where someone wakes up in an unfamiliar setting, a kid's room they don't recognize. They encounter a mysterious child who won't respond and a woman who only repeats, "Will you help us?" The situation becomes increasingly tense and frightening. The scene shifts back to reality as they wake up at 6:55 a.m., drenched in sweat from what was apparently an intense nightmare. Rain is falling outside, validating earlier predictions. They prepare for their first day of school, which is a 15-minute walk away. An awkward morning encounter occurs with Nancy, leading to discussions about adding a door lock. The situation is brushed off with good humor, treating it as a family-like moment. The uniform for school is mentioned as being ready in the closet. The school uniform is tried on and approved of, appreciating the convenience of not having to choose daily outfits. Thoughts turn to breakfast and avoiding spills on the new clothes. The atmosphere feels familiar despite a 10-year absence. A conversation about the constant rain leads to discussion of an upcoming swimming competition. The dialogue reveals how natural and familiar everything feels despite the long absence. Past ambitions and current athletic achievements are discussed. The topic shifts to school uniforms, with differing opinions about their comfort and practicality. The morning routine continues with breakfast options being discussed, including eggs, ham, cheese, and sausages. Someone opts for just coffee and decides to take a sandwich to school. The morning scene concludes with more family members joining for breakfast, displaying varying appetites and preferences. There's discussion about sleep quality during the storm, and familiar breakfast routines are observed, including someone having their usual cornflakes with juice and sweetened coffee. A casual conversation about eating habits begins, with discussion about calories and sugar intake. Someone tries to justify their diet by mentioning they balance it with salads. The conversation then shifts to a failed casting audition where someone was rejected for being too voluptuous, specifically due to breast size. This leads to frustration about beauty standards in the industry. The conversation continues with supportive comments about future opportunities. One person expresses nostalgia for high school days, noting things were easier then. Someone needs to leave for class soon, leading to an awkward moment when another person, Orion, is caught not paying attention to the conversation. The discussion moves to college life, revealing someone is studying journalism as a freshman at University of Kredon. Plans are made to tour the campus together the following week, showing friendship developing between the characters. The conversation demonstrates how social connections are forming in the college environment. The topic shifts to unusual eating habits, with someone describing how they can eat large amounts quickly due to a suppressed gag reflex. This leads to some awkward moments and suggestive comments, showing typical teenage humor and banter. The conversation touches on gaming, specifically mentioning Eternum and implants needed to play. Financial constraints prevent some from participating, but there are plans to save up and join in later. This shows how gaming brings people together, but can also highlight economic differences. The scene moves to the town center near University campus. Someone notices their friend Annie looking uncomfortable while talking to a guy in a school uniform. This leads to concern about potential harassment, showing protective instincts kicking in. A tense situation unfolds where someone named Axel, who claims to be from a wealthy family, makes unwanted advances toward Annie. Despite her polite rejections, he becomes increasingly aggressive and inappropriate, touching her without consent. The situation escalates into a physical confrontation when someone intervenes to protect Annie from Axel. It is revealed that Axel is from the wealthy Bardot family, connected to a company called Ulysses that created Eternum. The confrontation ends with Axel retreating after being struck. The scene transitions to school arrival, with nervous energy about starting at a new place. There are attempts to fit in and make connections with classmates, but most responses are cold or dismissive, creating an uncomfortable social situation. A casual conversation begins between two students meeting for the first time. One notices the other being ignored and decides to strike up a conversation. They discuss being new in town and feeling out of place. Both students express interest in helping each other adjust to the new environment. One student reveals they are from Class B and is distributing flyers written in Nuring, the official language of Eternum. The flyer promotes a contest happening at Loco's Cafe that evening. Most players don't speak Nuring. It's mainly used by hardcore role players, while most use English, Spanish, or Chinese servers. The contest is described as a trivia competition with multiple rounds on various topics. The grand prize is revealed to be a brand new E3X neural implant needed to play Eternum, worth over $2,500. The cafe owner's daughter is organizing this to help boost business rather than selling the spare implant she won. A brief exchange occurs about one student's gloves, who claims to wear them because they like the feel of silk and velvet, though appears uncomfortable discussing it further. This creates an air of mystery around them. The conversation shifts to explaining how the school's social dynamics work, with detailed descriptions of different cliques, including the jocks, Eternumatics, Eternumites, repeaters, populars, and the brains. Each group is described with their distinct characteristics and social standings. A confrontation unfolds when it's discovered that Chang, a new student, has joined the popular group. The situation escalates into tension with Axel, the popular group's leader, resulting in hostile exchanges and threats. This leads to Chang being kicked out of the popular group. A casual conversation about attraction ensues between friends. Different opinions are shared about physical appearances, with one person expressing strong admiration for someone named Michaela, describing her as perfect. The discussion highlights varying personal preferences and attraction standards in a lighthearted way. The conversation shifts to making plans for later. They decide to meet up for drinks and participate in a trivia contest at a cafe. One person mentions needing to shower first before meeting up. The teacher reminds the class about an upcoming test and advises against last-minute cramming. Upon returning home, a warm interaction occurs with Nancy. Compliments are exchanged about appearances and youthfulness. The conversation takes an unexpected turn when Nancy reveals she wants help with household cleaning, cleverly tricking someone into helping with chores. The bathroom cleaning task begins with surprise at how clean it already is. However, some limestone deposits are discovered in the tub. A thorough deep cleaning commences as a way to show gratitude for being allowed to stay in the house. There are daydreams about receiving praise for the cleaning job. Dahlia returns from her daily run, proud of achieving a new personal record. She prepares to take a shower, expressing concern about the lack of a door lock. An awkward situation develops when someone accidentally observes her changing clothes, resulting in a physical confrontation. A conversation with Penelope reveals she is feeling down about a recent casting call. An invitation to join the group at Loco's Cafe is extended. They discuss a gaming contest for Eternum that requires teams of 4 players. Penelope initially hesitates, but is convinced to join when told it could benefit her social media presence. The scene shifts to Loco's Cafe, where friends meet up for the contest. The establishment appears nice, and they discuss signing up for the competition, which requires a full team of 4 players. They prepare to speak with Mr. Fernandez, presumably the owner, about participating. A contest is about to begin at a local cafe with Eternum's E3X as the prize. 2 teams are already formed, and Orion wants to join with Chang and Penelope, but they need a 4th player. Luna, the cafe owner's daughter, volunteers to join their team. Luna helps out at her father's cafe after school regularly. While the contest is free to join, participants are encouraged to order drinks. The cafe owner shares his background story. He was once a world traveler who fell in love with an American woman, settled down, opened the cafe 15 years ago, and became a single father after his wife passed away when Luna was 5. Penelope arrives at the cafe looking stylish with a new hairstyle. She is revealed to be a popular social media influencer with many followers. A fan recognizes her and asks for a photo, but gets inappropriate by trying to grab her waist despite her refusal. Orion steps in to defend Penelope from the overly aggressive fan. The cafe owner announces the start of their first contest of the year, with an Eternum neural implant worth $2,500 as the prize. 3 teams will compete in 3 rounds with 9 questions total. Each team must designate a captain who will answer questions, with losing team captains required to wash dishes at the cafe for a week. Some drama erupts when Jerry, one of the team captains, questions the fairness of Luna participating since her father wrote the questions. The cafe owner becomes defensive of his daughter, and tensions rise until Luna diffuses the situation by saying she isn't offended. The teams then prepare to begin the competition. The quiz begins with questions about Twitter followers, the Berlin Wall, and Mel Gibson's middle name. Orion's team correctly answers questions about Barack Obama having the most Twitter followers and the Berlin Wall demolition beginning in 1989, but misses the Mel Gibson question. Team 2 performs exceptionally well, not missing any questions. The competition continues with questions about Earth's diameter and body decomposition. Orion's team correctly answers that Earth's diameter is 8,000 miles. The teams continue to battle it out in what proves to be an intense and challenging quiz competition. A dramatic story unfolds about a supposed murder, starting with hesitation to share details. The story involves claims about a sister named Madeline who was killed by an intruder. After the murder, the father allegedly killed the intruder in rage and hid the body in their basement. The story goes into disturbing detail about decomposition processes over time. The entire murder story is revealed to be just a joke. There was no sister, no basement, and no murder. The storyteller admits to learning these details from crime shows on TV. The conversation then shifts to a trivia game where contestants answer questions about various topics, including Greek mythology, with Demeter being correctly identified as the goddess of agriculture. The trivia game continues with questions about various topics. Teams take turns answering questions about historical dates, technology companies like Samsung, and astronomical facts like Mercury taking 88 days to orbit the Sun. There is a brief tense moment about assumptions regarding intelligence and appearance. The competition heats up with questions about global tax rates, with East Timor being surprisingly correct. The game moves to questions about Eternum, a video game, including company ownership and player statistics. Teams debate answers about various topics, including medical terminology and animal facts. The trivia contest concludes with Ryan's team emerging victorious. The prize is revealed to be an E3X gaming implant. The winner expresses gratitude and offers to share, though the device can only be used by one person. The cafe owner approves of the winner and allows photos to be taken for social media promotion. The event wraps up at Loco's Cafe, with participants heading home. A brief conversation reveals developing friendships and positive interactions among the participants. The gaming implant download is expected to take 10 to 15 hours, setting up anticipation for the next day's gaming session with new friends. The conversation starts with discussing Penny's participation in a trivia contest, which was outside her usual activities. She admits that Ryan convinced her to join, and she actually enjoyed it as a stress relief from her college work and modeling commitments. Ryan and Penny agree to do more activities together in the future. Everyone is encouraged to get ready for bed since it's a school night. There is excitement about showing Orion around various gaming activities tomorrow, including the server of Makar and meeting a character named Kitty. The conversation reveals some tension with Dahlia, who remains unusually quiet during dinner after some earlier incident. The group discusses dish duty responsibilities, with some debate about whose turn it is. They review who has done dishes recently: Delia on Sunday, someone else before that, and Annie the previous night. Penelope ultimately accepts that it's her turn to do the dishes. Nancy compliments Orion on his thorough bathroom cleaning, particularly noting how shiny the tub is. Orion expresses gratitude for being allowed to stay and wants to help out as much as possible. Their interaction is followed by some household chaos with people looking for misplaced items. Unable to sleep, there is exploration of social media, particularly looking at profiles and photos. The browsing reveals significant social media engagement with thousands of likes and comments on various posts. This leads to some personal reflection about relationships and social connections. The next morning begins with people getting ready for their day. There are morning routines and wake-up calls happening throughout the household as everyone prepares for work and school. Some slightly awkward morning interactions occur between household members. There is excitement about returning to gaming, particularly Eternum, with just an hour left before being able to play. However, there are also concerns about upcoming exams and studying requirements. There is discussion about academic performance and different approaches to studying. The scene shifts to after swim class, where there is discussion about cleaning up equipment. Someone volunteers to help, citing a belief in karma and helping others. The conversation reveals different attitudes toward physical activity and responsibility. The conversation concludes with discussion of gaming plans for later. While there is excitement about playing Eternum, some participants have other commitments like gym training for an upcoming competition. They agree to potentially play after dinner if time permits, acknowledging the importance of balancing gaming with other life priorities. A conversation about swimming takes place, focusing on Alexandra, who is known as the best swimmer in the school, town, and region. She stands out for her incredible swimming abilities, with some suggesting she could compete in the Olympics if she wanted to. Alex is described as a lone wolf who frequently skips classes, sometimes for entire weeks. Despite Mr. Keating's complaints about her attendance, she seems unbothered. She doesn't belong to any specific social group and keeps to herself, though she has a friendship with Delia. A confrontational scene unfolds at the pool where Axel and Ricky intimidate another student. They threaten to make the student's life miserable, extending the threats to their loved ones. The situation demonstrates classic bullying behavior with a concerning level of aggression. Mr. Keating assigns partners for an upcoming project. Several students try to get out of their assignments with various excuses. Noah and another student claim they can't postpone something important, involving Noah's mother arriving at the harbor, leading to a tense exchange with Mr. Keating. Orion attempts to discuss the project with Alexandra, who insists on being called by her full name. They agree to meet on Saturday at her house to work on a social contract paper. Their interaction reveals Alexandra's direct personality and appreciation for Orion's honest, non-flattering approach. The scene shifts to a discussion about Eternum, a virtual reality game. Annie appears wearing an e-suit and explains the necessary equipment, including a neural implant and visor. The setup process involves connecting these components for optimal gameplay experience. The user experiences a gradual loss of physical sensations, first in their legs, then hearing, and finally vision. The sequence creates some anxiety as the user realizes they can't control certain bodily functions during the initialization process. A new player awakens disoriented in the virtual world of Eternum, initially unable to see or feel their body. They experience confusion as their senses gradually come online, starting with vision and hearing. The experience of floating and flying adds to their initial disorientation. An AI named Adriel, known as the Eternum Lady, welcomes the player named Orion. She explains she was created by the founder to help maintain the game and can appear in multiple places simultaneously. The player discovers they have 100% compatibility with the game system. Adriel explains the core game mechanics. Players must search for 10 gems of doom across thousands of servers. 5 gems have already been found, but players can claim them by defeating current holders. The ultimate goal is to gather all gems to access the Temple of Acheron and claim the throne of Eternum. The importance of the weapons of Atlas is revealed, 3 legendary items that can help players on their quest. The first weapon, Ice, can cut through anything. The second weapon, Dion, is a sniper rifle owned by Dahlia Warren. The mysterious third weapon, Calypso, remains undiscovered and its true form unknown. The player experiences the incredibly realistic sensations of the virtual world, feeling cold water, metal taste, and wind against their skin. The graphics and sensory details feel more real than actual reality, though initial dizziness is common for new players. A friend explains why Eternum can't be recorded or streamed. The neural implant generates sensations directly in the brain, including vision. v0.6. The game allows customization of appearance through outfits, hairstyles, and accessories, though body modifications are limited. Each server has its own rules about customization. The game mechanics are explained further. Players can get hurt, robbed, or die, resulting in loss of items and levels. While lobby areas are safe zones, most gameplay areas have real consequences. The sophisticated environment creation requires extensive technical knowledge and significant resources to develop. In a virtual world called Eternum, a conversation unfolds about combat specialization and meeting new players. A group of players encounter someone named Orion, who they recognize from previous discussions. The atmosphere is playful yet slightly intimidating as they tease about the newcomer getting into dangerous situations. Annie reveals she frequents this virtual space daily and has completed numerous challenges. This surprises Orion, who sees a different side of Annie than he knew before. Annie explains that in this world, anyone can reinvent themselves. She encourages Orion to trust her despite the intimidating environment. A dramatic moment occurs when Annie takes a leap of faith from a great height. Orion faces internal conflict about following her, wrestling with fears about game glitches and potential consequences. After psyching himself up, he eventually takes the plunge, though his landing is less than graceful. The scene shifts to a bustling marketplace in Ion, described as having everything a player could need for weapons and armor. Annie acts as a guide, pointing out various districts including Apollo Square, Union Station, and the Black Market. They head toward 7th Street to meet someone who owes Annie a favor. A public announcement interrupts their exploration. The founder, CEO of Ulysses, appears as a hologram throughout the world. He announces a record-breaking 51 million simultaneous players and reveals that a 6th gem of doom has been discovered. These rare gems are part of a larger quest to claim the throne of Eternum. The adventure continues at the marketplace, where Annie surprises Orion with a generous gift of 1,500 Eternals, equivalent to real-world dollars. Despite Orion's initial reluctance to accept such a valuable gift, Annie insists, explaining how players can earn real money in Eternum through various professions. Orion visits a quirky merchant named Chop Chop, who shows off various Destiny-themed items. The merchandise includes a shovel, a supposedly powerful laser pistol, and special glasses with X-ray capabilities. The interaction is filled with humorous moments as Chop Chop demonstrates his unusual sales techniques. A brief conversation occurs about retrieving a sword from a nearby garage with someone named Kitty. The retrieval is expected to take around 15 minutes. There is concern expressed about going alone in Eternum, suggesting it's a potentially dangerous place that requires caution. An interaction at a shop called Chop Chop involves examining special items, including a pendant of destiny that supposedly brings luck to women who wear it forever. Despite sounding like a fairy tale, the pendant is purchased for $300, intended as a gift for someone named Annie. While waiting for someone to return, exploration of the surrounding area reveals a cyberpunk-style environment reminiscent of Blade Runner. Various establishments are observed, including an ominous human taxidermist and a fancy-looking place called Aphrodite's. Upon entering Aphrodite's, the interior presents a stark contrast to the neon cyberpunk exterior. The establishment appears upscale and exclusive, with a completely different atmosphere from the streets outside. Aphrodite's is revealed to be a high-end gentleman's club with locations worldwide since 1912. It operates with strict rules about consent and behavior, with services priced between 600 to 200 Eternals per hour. The establishment uses advanced security scanning technology to screen clients. An introduction is arranged with Eva, a selective escort who had previously turned down substantial offers. Eva appears exotic with striking features, particularly noted for her impressive hair and illuminated dress. She presents a stark contrast to the typical clientele. Eva expresses interest and invites further conversation in a private booth. She explains that many clients simply seek someone to talk to, using Eternum as a safe space to express themselves without judgment or surveillance. The scene shifts to a private room, which is notably clean and well-maintained. A discussion reveals that Eternum operates with realistic mechanics. Injuries need treatment, clothes must be purchased, and cleanliness requires actual cleaning rather than automatic reset buttons. The conversation turns philosophical, exploring the nature of reality within Eternum. Topics include the distinction between AI and human interactions and whether the authenticity of experiences matters if they feel real to the participants. Physical sensations and emotions in the virtual world are discussed as being genuinely felt. The virtual world of Eternum is discussed as a place where sensations feel completely real. While some view it as just another world to log off from, others consider it their true reality, with the physical world being merely a temporary space they must return to daily. Eternum is described as an immersive experience that can overtake users like a drug. The conversation reveals that behind the virtual characters are real people connected through neural implants. This blurs the line between virtual and physical reality for many users. A flirtatious interaction occurs between characters, highlighting how real and intimate connections can feel within the virtual space. The conversation demonstrates the deep emotional and sensory experiences possible in Eternum. The scene shifts to a conversation about a stolen sword that was meant to be a gift. Despite the disappointment over the theft, there is reassurance that friendship and shared experiences in Eternum are more valuable than virtual items. A magical item called the Pendant of Destiny is gifted, demonstrating how virtual gifts can carry emotional significance. Though potentially just a novelty item, the gesture strengthens the friendship between the characters. The characters encounter a distressing situation where someone needs help. Their response shows how real-world social dynamics and power structures can carry over into the virtual world of Eternum. A tense confrontation unfolds involving inappropriate behavior. The situation highlights how some players abuse the virtual environment, thinking they can act without consequences due to real-world connections and privilege. The Pretorians, Eternum's virtual police force, intervene in the situation. Their presence reveals the game's built-in systems for maintaining order and protecting users from harassment or abuse. The confrontation escalates as the aggressor attempts to use real-world connections to avoid consequences. This shows the complex relationship between virtual authority and real-world power dynamics in Eternum. The experience concludes with reflections on the immersive nature of Eternum. Players transition back to the real world, discussing the intensity of their virtual experiences and the smooth process of logging off, while acknowledging the importance of following rules in the virtual space. A group discusses how Benjamin was caught and punished by getting excommunicated from playing Eternum, an irreversible ban that even someone with connections couldn't overturn. The punishment was deemed deserved, though they hoped to avoid a similar fate. The conversation shifts to having supper together after the incident. The group recounts how Benjamin confronted a Pretorian, demanding to speak with a human instead of AI. After refusing to comply and making inappropriate comments, Benjamin faced serious consequences. The Pretorians are described as intimidating but effective enforcers of the game's rules. Someone expresses interest in getting a neural implant to play the game if they land a modeling job. Their friend promises to help find them modeling work to make this happen. After playing together, they exchange grateful goodnights. A discussion about social media reveals that one friend made a temporary account to like all of another's photos. They connect over photography interests, leading to an invitation to a photography studio session that weekend. The living situation between housemates is praised for bringing new energy to the home. Late at night, Ryan encounters Nancy working late on her computer. They have an awkward but friendly conversation about yoga, leading to Nancy inviting Ryan to her Saturday yoga class, where she promises to teach special techniques like the crested crane pose. Dahlia reveals finding the location of one of the 10 gems of doom in the game. Initially resistant, she eventually agrees to let someone help with the mission to obtain the 6th gem, though warning of dire consequences if they fail. They must complete the mission within 30 minutes. A new player logs into the game Escobar for the first time, experiencing an impressively fast loading process. They find themselves in a dungeon with Dahlia, who has prepared a login unit there to save time. The new player is notably wearing minimal armor. Escobar is described as a vast medieval fantasy world, filled with diverse locations and creatures, from castles and knights to dragons and mermaids. However, their current mission focuses solely on obtaining the Gem of Doom, requiring help from someone named Jerry. Jerry arrives, speaking dramatically and flirting with Dahlia. A confrontation occurs when two people recognize each other from Loco's Cafe, revealing tension over a previous neural implant competition. The encounter adds unexpected complexity to their planned mission. A humorous misunderstanding unfolds when a character claims to be dating Delia, insisting they have a deep connection and romantic benefits. Delia firmly denies any relationship, explaining she only grabbed his hand to prevent him from falling off a cliff. The delusional character romanticizes this basic safety gesture into something more meaningful. The group refocuses on their mission to obtain one of the Gems of Doom. A plan is laid out to trap Kant and Zet in the dungeon. The strategy involves splitting them up and defeating them individually, while being cautious of their paralyzing spell. Jerry is assigned to distract Zep upstairs, while others handle Khan. A detailed ambush plan is explained where one character will act as bait, pretending not to know about Khan's paralyzing power. The team needs to wait for the perfect moment when Khan is concentrated on the spell to launch a surprise attack. The keyword moron will signal the exact timing for the attack. The confrontation with Khan begins. Despite attempts to negotiate, Khan uses his paralysis spell successfully. He reveals his possession of the Gem of Doom was no accident, boasting about their invincibility. The paralyzed character remains defiant despite their compromised position. The ambush succeeds with Khan being struck from behind. After being captured, Khan reveals his brother has the Gem of Doom before passing out. The team discusses game mechanics, noting that unconsciousness doesn't trigger automatic disconnection for 60 minutes. They decide to use Khan as a potential hostage. While guarding the unconscious Khan, a character daydreams about the possibilities of obtaining the Gem of Doom. imagining fame, wealth, and success. The peaceful moment is interrupted by mysterious sounds and movements in the dungeon. Jerry returns, leading to a heated argument about Dahlia's whereabouts. Jerry boasts about his gaming achievements and level 39 status, claiming to be legendary. He continues his delusional rhetoric about being destined for greatness and his imagined relationship with Dahlia. The situation takes a terrifying turn as a massive monster appears. A frantic escape attempt follows through the dungeon corridors, with the monster displaying surprising speed despite its size. The chase leads to a collapsed path, forcing a retreat that ends in a confrontation with the creature. A tense confrontation occurs where someone demonstrates impressive combat abilities. The scene involves dodging attacks and landing precise hits, earning amazement from onlookers. The atmosphere is charged with excitement and danger as the action unfolds dramatically. After an intense battle, Dahlia appears injured but still impresses others with her remarkable strength. A discussion reveals that Jerry was killed by an ochre monster due to his overconfidence. Dahlia shares wisdom about never becoming complacent with one's abilities, noting there's always someone stronger. The group spots an exit portal but faces difficulties reaching it due to injuries, including broken ribs. They attempt to help each other escape, but their progress is interrupted by an unexpected presence that creates tension and uncertainty. A legendary player named Thanatos appears, known for possessing 3 gems of doom, rare items with only 10 existing in the game. The situation becomes dire, as characters must decide whether to flee or stand their ground against this powerful figure. Someone makes a brave stand against retreat, refusing to run away despite the danger. Surprisingly, Thanatos leaves without conflict. The group discusses this unexpected turn of events, debating whether it was intimidation or simply not being worth the effort that caused his departure. The aftermath reveals various losses, including broken armor and lost items. While some view it as a failure, others find pride in facing Eternum's top player. The group discusses the balance between bravery and foolishness in their actions. The scene shifts to real-world impacts of gaming, discussing how mental exertion in the virtual world causes physical tiredness. Characters reflect on their first week experiences and the separation between game consequences and real life. The story takes a dark turn with news of Benjamin's death, reportedly from a stroke due to stress and overexertion. This reveals a potentially sinister connection between game events and real-world consequences. Suspicions arise about Benjamin's death being more than coincidence, possibly connected to his excommunication from the game. Characters debate whether there's a larger conspiracy at play, though some dismiss these theories as paranoid thinking. A discussion about investigating Benjamin's death occurs, with some skepticism about the stroke explanation. While there is curiosity about investigating further, there's agreement that interrogating Benjamin's parents would be inappropriate and disrespectful, especially given his problematic past. Luna joins the group at their table. After an initially awkward welcome with a reference to a movie joke, the conversation shifts to video games. Luna mentions that Orion won a neural implant at her cafe, and they discuss playing Eternum 2 together on a server called Red Herring. The Red Herring server is described as a mystery-themed server with horror elements. Despite some concerns about Annie's ability to handle scary content, the group agrees to play together. Luna explains it's more focused on solving cold cases and detective work. The conversation returns to Benjamin. Luna reveals she might know someone named Nova who could help investigate Benjamin's death. They make plans to meet at Luna's place later to play Eternum 2 together. Plans are made to skip the remaining school hours to investigate. The weather suddenly turns stormy, marking a dramatic shift in the atmosphere as events unfold. A heated confrontation erupts with Axel, who accuses the protagonist of involvement in Benjamin's death. The situation escalates into physical violence, with threats exchanged and insults directed at friends. An authority figure intervenes in the fight, warning about potential expulsion and loss of scholarship. Despite the warning, there is determination to stand ground against threats while acknowledging the need to be more careful. Through worsening weather conditions, the journey continues to find Nova's address. Upon arrival, there's an unexpected encounter with Nova's mother Sandra, leading to some awkward confusion about Nova's age and role. The situation becomes more complicated when Nova arrives home completely drenched from the rain. Her mother fusses over her condition while an awkward interaction unfolds as they try to maintain a cover story about studying for a quiz. A casual family interaction occurs where a mother leaves for work after the father has departed, asking someone to watch the house. The scene then transitions to someone being invited inside from the rain for coffee and pastries, with the host insisting they should eat before studying. It becomes clear that the visitor isn't actually there to study and appears too young to be a college classmate. There are mentions of Cardin's College and someone named Penelope, though it's noted this isn't particularly relevant to the situation. The visitor observes the apartment, noting its small but cozy size and tasteful decoration. Nova, the host, goes to change out of wet clothes and prepare coffee. The seemingly pleasant atmosphere suddenly shifts dramatically when Nova returns. An intense confrontation erupts as Nova threatens the visitor, who identifies himself as Orion. Nova suspects him of being sent to threaten her family, possibly connected to something involving South Korea and a DDoS attack. The situation is tense, with Nova wielding a knife. The misunderstanding gets cleared up when they discuss Luna, a mutual acquaintance from Loco's Cafe. Luna had apparently sent Orion to Nova for help with an investigation. Nova begins to believe Orion isn't a threat, though remains cautious. Nova reveals her hacking abilities, though she downplays Hollywood-style expectations. She explains she can access databases and modify game content, particularly in Eternum. Orion shares his concern about someone who died suspiciously after being excommunicated by the Pretorians. The conversation turns to Ulysses' company and potential suspicious activities. Nova mentions their sophisticated cybersecurity and the mysterious founder. She agrees to investigate Benjamin Dawson's death by checking police records. An interesting dynamic develops as they discover shared interests in anime and gaming, particularly Eternum 2. Despite this connection, Nova maintains her professional distance and asks Orion to leave after agreeing to help with the investigation. After Orion leaves, Nova immediately hacks his phone, revealing her cautious nature. She discovers Hez legitimate, recently arrived from overseas on a scholarship. His phone contains normal content, including game screenshots and personal photos. Luna welcomes a guest who compliments her Eternum Z suit. They discuss Annie going to someone else's house with her own equipment and mention Nova agreeing to investigate Benjamin's death. Luna explains helping Nova in the past by disposing of flash drives when police were after her. The conversation shifts to preparing to enter Eternum. The guest arrives at Luna's house and requests to use the bathroom. A disturbing scene unfolds where Luna appears to confess to violence against her father, describing voices and urges. However, it is revealed to be an elaborate prank orchestrated by Luna and her father using prop knives and fake blood. Luna's father leaves for work at the cafe after the prank, needing to change clothes first. The guests show good humor about the situation, and they prepare to begin playing Eternum. Discussion about the game's neural implant safety features occurs while waiting for an invitation to join the game server. The system can detect physical problems and environmental hazards like gas or smoke. The players enter a creepy neighborhood in Eternum. They complement each other's outfits, with Luna revealing she's skilled at summoning in the game. The setting appears cold and eerie. Luna introduces the Red Herring server, explaining it contains 12 cities with multiple districts and cases to solve. They focus on the enigma of the Foggy District, a particularly challenging case Luna hasn't been able to solve alone. The background story of Jeremy Flink is revealed, a wealthy businessman who exploited workers at his cement factory. After years of abuse, workers burned down the factory, resulting in eternal darkness and ash-covered streets in the area. While observing Luna without her gloves, thoughts arise about why she typically wears them, though no obvious reason like scars or marks is visible. Her dress fits perfectly, accentuating her figure. Despite her unique personality affecting her popularity at school, there is appreciation for her authentic self. The pair encounters Enzo, a former factory worker who stayed behind when others left. He appears to be homeless and alone. Luna is familiar to him since NPCs retain their memories. When approached, Enzo is initially reluctant to engage in conversation, but recognizes Luna. Enzo reveals some history about a burned-down factory and hints at dark events. He mentions Mr. Flink, the factory owner, was away during the incident and received insurance coverage. When pressed about any curse on the area, Enzo enters a loop repeating the phrase, "We did something terrible. We deserve it." A mysterious woman appears and warns about midnight approaching. She mentions a child who needs help and is key to lifting the local curse. The child can be found in the Bixen building's highest floor in a lit room. The woman identifies herself as a syndicate member before departing. Inside the Bixen building, the atmosphere is surprisingly warm and cozy with a lit fireplace. Luna mentions having explored this building before, but it was previously empty and dark. Strange noises from upstairs suggest someone else is present. Upon reaching the upper floor, they encounter a little girl in a dimly lit room. After careful approach, the child introduces herself as Annie and expresses desire for her toys, particularly her teddy bear named Mr. Nebula. Luna stays with Annie while someone goes to find a toy. At a trading post, they meet Chop, a merchant who runs multiple shops across different locations to fund his son's college education. Despite his unusual inventory, Chop manages to provide a makeshift teddy bear created from old cushions for 30 Eternals. After purchasing the teddy bear, there is consideration about buying an additional gift for Luna as a thank you gesture, particularly since she helped with obtaining a neural implant. The conversation shifts to discussing potential gift options suitable for Luna. A merchant is trying to sell Maurice the goat as a perfect gift. The goat is advertised as a loyal companion who can provide milk, guard the home, and supposedly serves multiple purposes, including becoming broth. The merchant enthusiastically promotes Maurice as coming from a distant land. The merchant continues the sales pitch by showing off Maurice the goat's supposed intelligence, claiming he knows geography. When tested with capital cities and math problems, Maurice gives incorrect answers, but the merchant maintains the goat is clever despite the obvious failures. While showing off Maurice as a shop guardian and friendly companion, the goat causes chaos by stealing the merchant's fish. The merchant becomes angry and chases after Maurice, threatening to turn him into broth. This incident disrupts the sales pitch. After the chaotic scene, the merchant tries to salvage the sale by offering spirit animals at a discounted price of 150 Eternals, down from 300. Despite the bargaining attempts, the potential customer seems uninterested in any of the animals, except possibly a cat. The customer finally decides to take the cat, hoping Luna will like it. The merchant bids an emotional farewell, encouraging future visits. The customer leaves the cat temporarily to handle other matters first, specifically a mysterious curse affecting the town. Upon returning upstairs, the group discusses Annie's situation. They discover she is Annie Flink, daughter of the factory owner. Her parents apparently left the country after their factory was destroyed, potentially abandoning their daughter. The group develops a plan to lift the curse by showing Annie a picture of her mother, similar to how a previous curse was resolved. Luna volunteers to visit the Flink House to search for a family photo, excited about participating in another mystery-solving adventure. The story shifts to exploring the Flink House, which stands out from surrounding buildings with its modern design. A convenient flashlight is found on a swing outside. The house appears surprisingly well-maintained despite being abandoned for months. A mysterious phone call reveals a conversation between Annie's mother, Alicia, and her friend Madison about a factory explosion. They discuss workers seeking revenge against the Flinks, with Alicia determined to save family photos in a fireproof safe before fleeing. The search leads to discovering the mentioned safe in the bedroom, which contains the sought-after family photo album. However, the safe is locked, requiring a combination. A notebook nearby suggests the combination involves counting various household items. The scene opens with details about finding objects in a house, dirty toys in the laundry room, and logs in the garden from 2 winters ago. These items are clues to a combination. The numbers turn out to be 3, 2, 18, which successfully opens a safe containing a camera, newspaper, and some important pictures. A shocking revelation emerges from an old newspaper describing the Flink's factory fire. The article details how angry workers burned down both Jeremy Flink's factory and his family home. Tragically, Alicia Flink and her 7-year-old daughter Anne died in the house fire while trying to escape. Upon this discovery, panic sets in as the flashlight stops working. The only light source becomes the camera flash from the safe. An attempt to escape through the garden is blocked, forcing a detour through the bathroom. A terrifying burnt figure appears in the garden, blocking that escape route. The escape becomes increasingly desperate as doors are found locked. A confrontation occurs with Alicia's spirit, where bargaining and promises are made about reuniting her with her daughter. The spirit temporarily leaves, providing a brief moment of relief. Luna appears, providing a welcome rescue. The situation is explained about the mother and daughter who died in the fire. Anne, the little girl, is spotted nearby. A touching moment occurs when she receives a box containing the photo of her mother. A portal appears, signaling the successful completion of the quest. The foggy district returns to normal, and a mysterious reward is found, potentially a valuable gem of doom. The group debates who should keep the gem, ultimately deciding the newest player should hold it to avoid unwanted attention. The intensity of the experience is discussed as players prepare to return to the real world. The time shows 9 p.m., highlighting how quickly time passes in the game. There are comments about the immersive nature of Eternum and the importance of maintaining boundaries between virtual and reality. The conversation shifts to a forgotten gift, a virtual cat named Maurice left behind in the game. The gift is revealed to be valuable for enhancing magic abilities. The touching moment shows the developing friendship between the players, leading to a discussion about personal boundaries and trust. A deeply personal conversation reveals the story behind why Luna always wears gloves. As a child in school, she shared a secret with a friend who then rejected her and turned others against her, leaving her without real friends. This traumatic experience led her to start wearing gloves constantly as a protective measure. Luna reveals her extraordinary ability. When she touches someone with bare hands, she can see glimpses of their future. These visions can show events from the next hour to months ahead. Her first vision was tragically seeing her mother's death when she was only 5 years old, which came true 3 months later due to heart disease. Despite Luna's initial hesitation, Orion convinces her to try using her power on him, hoping it might help solve mysteries or prevent tragedies. Luna agrees to the experiment, though worried about potentially seeing something bad in his future. This marks the first time she's willingly used her ability since childhood. In a shocking twist, when Luna touches Orion, she sees nothing, no visions at all. This is completely unprecedented as her power still works on others. The moment becomes intimate as Luna realizes she can touch him freely without receiving any visions, leading to a tender moment between them before they awkwardly part ways. The scene shifts to personal reflections about the game version and upcoming plans. There are thoughts about Luna's unique situation and a genuine desire to help her feel normal again. The weather is noted as being particularly cold, and there's curiosity about a missing social media update from Penny. Annie reflects on her personal growth in handling fear, particularly regarding scary movies and games. While she used to be terrified by horror content, she's slowly learning to cope better, though still struggles with dark corridors and spooky atmospheres. Annie, still scared from earlier events, ends up seeking comfort in Ryan's room. Despite initial hesitation, Ryan welcomes her to stay, showing understanding of her fears. They share a comfortable conversation about room views and plans to thank Nancy for her kindness before settling in for sleep. The next morning brings an awkward moment as Ryan wakes up to find Annie holding his arm while still asleep. The room has a pleasant strawberry scent, and Ryan finds himself unable to move without waking her, creating a slightly uncomfortable but sweet situation. Two friends find themselves in an awkward, intimate position while sleeping. They both feel embarrassed about the physical contact, but try to play it cool. Annie reveals she was holding onto his arm because she usually cuddles with her stuffed bear Balu when sleeping. She feels childish admitting this and worries Orion only sees her as a little girl, not a real woman. The tension between them grows as they discuss the sleeping arrangement. Annie feels self-conscious about her height and appearance, while Orion is secretly thrilled by their closeness, but worried about making her uncomfortable. They awkwardly discuss his shirt being itchy against her skin as an excuse for the situation. Things escalate when Annie suggests Orion could remove his shirt to be more comfortable. This surprises both of them, as it's unlike Annie's usual shy personality. Orion is intrigued, but concerned about taking advantage of the situation. They both struggle with their growing attraction while trying to maintain their friendship. After their intimate encounter, Orion reflects on seeing a new side of Annie and hopes to help her feel comfortable being herself around him. He realizes there might be potential for their relationship to develop beyond friendship. The weather has cleared up, making it feel like a sign. The next morning, Nancy comes to Orion's room before heading to yoga class. She mentions picking up another mom who annoyingly joined her class. Orion offers to help with chores and waking up Dahlia. Their friendly interaction shows their comfortable household dynamic. Orion attempts to wake up Dahlia, who is resistant to getting up despite sleeping for 10 hours. After some coaxing and the promise of pancakes, she finally rises. Their playful, sibling-like banter continues over breakfast, with teasing about appearances and workout abilities. The morning takes an unexpected turn when Dahlia injures her back. She's devastated about potentially missing an upcoming weightlifting competition and fears being humiliated by her rival Michaela. Orion tries to comfort her and offers a massage, sharing a story about helping a friend with a similar injury. A conversation about learning massage techniques from a Cambodian YouTube video to help with muscle injury relief. The massage session helps relax muscles while discussing the video game Eternum. Annie and Luna found something potentially important in the game that will be revealed later as a surprise. Discussion about Jerry, another Eternum player who lost his level and inventory after encountering Thanatos. Jerry incorrectly believes he was killed by a dirty trick rather than an ogre. Despite being occasionally difficult, Jerry is acknowledged as a skilled spellcaster who should recover quickly. The massage session concludes successfully with plans for another session tomorrow. Instructions are given to rest, use an ice pack, and avoid secret workouts. With proper care and following instructions, full recovery is expected before next Friday. A brief, awkward interaction occurs with Dahlia, who appears unusually shy and makes excuses to avoid conversation. The situation is brushed off as her possibly having a rough night and needing more time. Plans are mentioned about attending a yoga event. At Kredon's gym, feelings of insecurity arise among fit gym goers. Nancy provides reassurance and describes the gym's features, including personal training sessions and various activities like yoga and kickboxing. The gym is noted as being modern and recently opened. An energetic interaction with Millie, the gym receptionist, who mistakes the relationship status between visitors. The conversation clarifies the situation regarding a student exchange program and potential college plans. Millie enthusiastically promotes the gym membership. Introduction to the gym's personal trainers: Nikolai for swimming, Moon for self-defense, Kai for yoga and spiritual wellness, and Chang for strength training. Each trainer has their unique approach and specialties, though some comedy ensues over copied slogans. A revealing conversation with Chang discloses his true motivation for working at the gym, hoping to see Michaela. The discussion turns to planning Michaela's birthday gift, with suggestions focusing on concert or show tickets as a strategic way to create a date opportunity. A casual yoga session begins with some lighthearted banter about stretching and preparation. Despite initial cockiness about yoga being easy, there are warnings about being humbled soon. The discussion touches on yoga being both about inner balance and a form of personal competition. The focus shifts to the importance of proper stretching for muscle elasticity and injury prevention. As more people arrive for the class, it becomes apparent that it's a smaller group than usual, providing plenty of space for everyone to practice comfortably. Noah and Raul, two students from school, arrive at the yoga class. The conversation reveals how the community is interconnected, with frequent encounters between familiar faces. Despite their intimidating appearance, they're described as sweet and inseparable friends. A mix-up occurs when Gertrude mistakes Orion for Dahlia. The conversation transitions into a discussion about the Forever Young Ladies Gym and PTA involvement. Nancy mentions her work with Ulysses, Eternum's parent company, conducting stem cell research. The yoga instructor Kai begins class with a dreamy welcome speech. He introduces himself as Mr. Kanan from Kanan Engineering, but insists on informality. The class preparation begins with focus on mental purification and stress relief. The yoga session progresses through various poses. Nancy receives particular praise for her graceful movements, while others struggle with more challenging positions. The class moves toward partner poses, with Kai specifically arranging to pair with Nancy. Tension builds as Gertrude suggests Kai and Nancy would make a good couple. This creates internal conflict for Orion, who struggles with jealousy but questions their right to interfere in Nancy's personal life. Orion decides to take action and approaches Noah and Raul for help in preventing Kai from getting close to Nancy. A deal is struck involving payment in Eternals, a digital currency, with some intimidating undertones about consequences of non-payment. The situation reaches a climax as Kai reveals inappropriate thoughts about Nancy, focusing on physical attributes rather than professional conduct. The atmosphere becomes tense as his true intentions become clear, leading to a confrontational moment. During a yoga class, a car in the parking lot started smoking from the engine. The car belonged to an instructor named Kai, who was still making payments on it. The class had to end early, and someone named Millie was asked to call the fire department. While the car situation was being handled, two students decided to try one final partner pose together. One person had to lie down and raise their legs perpendicular to the ground while the other balanced on top. They attempted the pose and experienced a moment of connection through synchronized breathing. The balancing pose ended with a fall, though no one was hurt. They agreed they would need more practice together. The conversation turned personal as they discussed how one person's return to Kredon had brought joy and memorable moments to their lives, especially reminding them of their past connection when one was a babysitter. The intimate moment was interrupted by someone named Bertrude, who had been waiting downstairs. They made plans to go to a vegan restaurant for lunch. Another person mentioned they had afternoon plans to work on a school project with a friend. A conversation revealed that Kai's car was completely totaled by a homemade explosive device placed underneath it. Despite this major setback, Kai maintained a positive attitude. The discussion then shifted to someone seeking relationship advice about intense feelings for someone from yoga class. The person seeking advice expressed concerns about pursuing the relationship, worried about others' opinions and their own pent-up feelings. They discussed potential scenarios and fantasies, with the advisor enthusiastically encouraging them to pursue their desires and not hold back. The scene shifted to a conversation about expensive neural implants and restaurant experiences. Someone was questioning whether to spend $2,500 on an implant while discussing their role as PTA president and sharing an unpleasant dining experience where they confronted restaurant staff. The conversation concluded with a cautionary tale about neural implants and online relationships. A story was shared about someone named Mindy, whose husband left her and their 3 children after meeting a younger woman through the Eternum gaming platform, suggesting these virtual spaces could potentially threaten relationships. A conversation takes place about a concerning situation involving an expensive implant that cost $2,500. The device cannot be refunded or easily resold since people are wary of second-hand implants that could be hacked or modified illegitimately. The scene shifts to someone waiting to meet Alexandra. They observe that the women in Kredon are attractive and express interest in attending future college parties. There seems to be some unresolved sexual tension with Nancy before being interrupted. Nova suddenly appears, startling the narrator. She reveals she tracked their location through phone GPS, claiming it was to share important information about an investigation. The GPS tracking accuracy is discussed, with Nova admitting it's roughly 50 to 60 feet off. Nova shares serious findings about Benjamin's death. The police files were modified. He actually died from an aneurysm while playing Eternum, not in his garage. His parents received $150,000 after his death, suggesting possible hush money from Ulysses Corporation. They discuss next steps in investigating the conspiracy, including infiltrating high-class dinners attended by Ulysses executives by becoming prestigious players. Nova offers her burner phone number for secure communication. The narrator privately decides to withhold information about finding a gem of doom. Alexandra arrives on a motorcycle, meeting Nova and the narrator. An awkward interaction occurs when Alexandra mistakenly assumes Nova and the narrator are dating. Nova gets caught in lies about how she knows certain information, revealing she hacked the narrator's phone. The scene transitions to arriving at their destination, with some playful teasing about the narrator's nervousness during the motorcycle ride. They observe luxury cars in a wealthy neighborhood with extensive security measures, leading to a discussion about wealth displays and parking arrangements. The conversation opens in what appears to be a luxurious home setting with a huge garage filled with supercars. These vehicles technically belong to the speaker's father, who apparently owns many more at their upper quarter house. The conversation reveals this is a wealthy household, though only part of the family currently lives there. The speaker expresses frustration about people trying to befriend them for ulterior motives. They reveal being disowned by their father and having a strained relationship with their mother. The conversation then leads to the revelation that the speaker is Alexandra Bardot, daughter of William Bardot, a major shareholder of Ulysses and one of the world's top billionaires. The conversation shifts to discuss Axel, Alexandra's twin brother. It comes out that the other person in the conversation had a physical altercation with Axel, resulting in giving him a bloody nose. Surprisingly, Alexandra approves of this, expressing respect for someone standing up to her brother, whom she describes as someone people are usually too afraid to confront. The scene moves inside the house, which is described as museum-like with perfect positioning of furniture and absolutely no dust, maintained by housekeepers. Alexandra expresses distaste for this perfectionist environment, suggesting she feels out of place in her own home. The house is described as fancy and expensive, but Alexandra seems uncomfortable with the luxury. Alexandra opens up about her family dynamics. She describes her mother Priscilla as an uninvolved parent who married young and relied on nannies, often returning home drunk and arguing with her father about his infidelity. Her father William is portrayed as a money-obsessed, manipulative figure, while her twin brother Axel is described as a spoiled clone of their father. The conversation turns to hobbies and personal interests. Alexandra reveals her love for swimming, describing it as an escape from stress and problems. She also enjoys playing a game called Eternum. Despite her wealthy background, she works at a cafe and refuses to take money from her father, showing her desire for independence. The topic shifts to religion, with Alexandra explaining she wears a cross necklace given by her grandmother, but isn't religious. She expresses skepticism about traditional religious beliefs regarding heaven and hell, suggesting she wears the cross purely for aesthetic reasons rather than spiritual significance. The final portion of the conversation focuses on Alexandra's numerous tattoos. She describes getting her first tattoo as an act of rebellion against her father, followed by more tattoos, including some from a trip to Mexico. She discusses how swimming affects her tattoos, causing the ink to fade faster due to exposure to chlorine and salt water. During a casual conversation, there was some playful banter about tattoos and personal boundaries. Despite attempts to learn more about family history, resistance was met with deflection and sarcastic responses. The discussion revealed tension around family relationships and a reluctance to open up about personal matters. Some genuine compliments about personality and style led to a slightly awkward but sweet moment of connection. The conversation shifted to a school project where both parties agreed to investigate an intriguing topic about a cult in the Netherlands that allegedly performs human sacrifices to a demon called Caladia. This dark subject matter captured their mutual interest and sparked enthusiasm for further research. After completing their schoolwork successfully, the discussion turned to gaming, specifically about playing Eternum together. Despite initial resistance to the invitation, the conversation evolved into an exciting revelation about a legendary weapon called Calypso, one of the weapons of Alice, which was supposedly hidden on an inaccessible server. A tense family situation suddenly erupted when a mother, appearing intoxicated, and an aggressive father appeared. The atmosphere grew incredibly uncomfortable as family tensions and past grievances surfaced. The father displayed controlling and emotionally abusive behavior, making cruel remarks about lifestyle choices and family disappointment. The confrontation escalated when someone stood up against the father's verbal abuse, defending Alex despite potential consequences. This brave intervention, while risky, demonstrated strong loyalty and friendship. The father, though initially furious, eventually backed down from the confrontation. In the aftermath of the confrontation, a touching moment of vulnerability and gratitude emerged. Alex, showing rare emotional openness, accepted comfort and support. Plans were discussed about moving out once finances allowed. The interaction ended with Alex allowing the use of a preferred nickname, marking a significant step in their growing friendship. Following the intense encounter, there was reflection on the difficult situation and a desire to help, though options seemed limited. Plans were made to follow up about both personal matters and the gaming quest for Calypso the next day. A glimpse into a different time showed Alex achieving remarkable success as a competitive swimmer, breaking records and becoming the top American swimmer. When interviewed about advice for aspiring athletes, a simple but powerful message was shared about persistence and dedication to one's dreams. A playful scene unfolds with mentions of a medal-snatching witch and a freezing gun confrontation. The dialogue has a lighthearted tone with dramatic elements of a superhero-style encounter, ending in both characters being frozen together. A touching conversation occurs between a young Alex and her grandmother about her parents missing her birthday due to work in China. Alex expresses frustration about her mother not having a job but still being absent. The scene captures the disappointment of a child dealing with absent parents. The grandmother gives Alex her cross necklace as an early birthday present. Despite Alex's initial reluctance, her grandmother explains its deeper meaning, that she'll always be with Alex even when they can't be together physically. The moment carries emotional significance about lasting connections. A heartfelt discussion about friendship and future relationships takes place. The grandmother shares wisdom about needing others and finding special people in life, comparing it to her own experience meeting Alex's grandfather. She suggests Alex will find her own prince or princess someday. The scene shifts to a creepy nighttime sequence. Someone wakes up disoriented, possibly sleepwalking, and encounters a mysterious road. The atmosphere becomes increasingly unsettling as they try to find their bearings in an unfamiliar location. A supernatural encounter occurs with repeated questions of, "Will you help us?" The scene builds tension through mysterious figures and cryptic philosophical statements about life, death, and humanity. It culminates in a frightening confrontation that reveals itself to be a nightmare. The aftermath of the nightmare shows someone trying to calm themselves down. They reflect on how unusual it is for them to have such vivid dreams and express intrigue about discovering new content they hadn't seen before. A morning phone conversation begins between Orion and Nova. Nova reveals she's new to having a phone, having just gotten one. They discuss the phone's security features and encryption, showing Nova's technical expertise despite her inexperience with mobile devices. The conversation turns to discussing Atlas weapons, particularly Calypso. Nova demonstrates knowledge about 3 ultimate weapons, Heist, Dion, and Calypso. They discuss Delilah Warren, who possesses one of the weapons, and Calypso's rumored server-shaping abilities. The discussion concludes with plans to access a restricted server where Calypso might be hidden. Nova agrees to help with potential exploits, and they make plans to include Alex in the exploration. The conversation ends with plans for future meetings and a playful accusation about computer hacking. A chaotic kitchen incident unfolds as smoke appears and a fire alarm goes off. Someone was attempting to make waffles, but got distracted by a phone call. resulting in a kitchen fire. Others rush to help with fire extinguishers and blankets while lamenting damage to new appliances, including a recently purchased fridge. A morning interaction begins between Orion and Penny. They exchange compliments about their appearances, with Penny concerned about humidity affecting her hair. They discuss an upcoming photo shoot, revealing that Penny has a photographer boyfriend named Philippe, which catches Orion off guard since she previously claimed to be single. Arriving at the studio, Orion internally processes his disappointment about Penny having a boyfriend. Meanwhile, Penny enthusiastically describes the high-quality equipment and explains how difficult it was to book the space, though Philippe helped secure a slot. They meet Philippe, who turns out to be flamboyant and immediately takes a liking to Orion, playfully flirting with him. The interaction reveals that Philippe is actually married to Paul and isn't really Penny's boyfriend. He just affectionately calls her his girlfriend. The professional photo session begins in a well-equipped studio. Orion offers to help with lighting while Penny requests refreshments. They briefly discuss Mr. Valentino, an important but unpleasant fashion agent who could boost Penny's career. During a coffee break, Penny reveals she hasn't had a real boyfriend since high school, focusing instead on college and career. This news secretly relieves Orion, though he reminds himself not to get his hopes up. The photo shoot involves modeling sponsored lingerie and clothing. Orion tries to maintain professionalism while photographing Penny, who's sponsored by a fashion brand. They discuss proper angles and lighting while keeping the atmosphere light and professional. Penny expresses appreciation for Orion's professional behavior, contrasting him with previous creepy photographers. The session continues with technical adjustments and positioning, though Orion secretly struggles with some camera settings while trying to appear confident. A casual photo shoot is taking place with Orion behind the camera and Penny modeling. The atmosphere is relaxed and fun, with Orion showing natural talent for photography, despite claiming to just point and shoot at pretty things. Penny appears to be a natural at posing, making the shoot flow effortlessly. While the photos turn out beautifully, Penny decides to keep them private rather than post on Instagram. She explains wanting to move away from provocative content and build a more legitimate modeling career. Despite feeling comfortable with the photographer, she worries about attracting unwanted attention and her mother's potential reaction. The shoot is interrupted by Nico Valentino, a prominent fashion industry figure who enters demanding use of the studio. He recognizes Penny and shows interest in working with her, but quickly becomes inappropriate and demanding, insisting she undress for his inspection despite her clear refusal. The situation escalates as Valentino becomes aggressive and threatening. Her companion stands up to Valentino, refusing to let him harass Penny despite his status and threats to ruin her career. The confrontation ends with Valentino storming out after being told off. After Valentino's departure, Penny expresses gratitude rather than anger about potentially losing the opportunity. She remains optimistic about her modeling career through Instagram and her backup plan of pursuing a degree. The incident leads to a discussion about comfort and trust in photography. Plans are made to order a neural implant with expedited shipping to start playing Eternum together. Donuts are offered as a snack before leaving, and there's excitement about Penny joining the game, with hopes of convincing Nancy to join as well. An unexpected encounter occurs when Nova appears, revealing she tracked down someone's phone location. This leads to a discussion about boundaries and privacy concerns regarding Nova's tracking behavior. Nova introduces herself to Penelope, a popular college student from their digital media class. The interaction is slightly awkward but friendly, with Nova mentioning her distinctive appearance, including her orange hair and eye patch. Penelope invites Nova to sit together in future classes. The conversation wraps up warmly, with plans made to see each other in class. There is a brief moment of uncertainty about whether there was flirting involved in the interaction. Nova reveals her extensive research into someone's background, including academic achievements and personal interests. This leads to another discussion about privacy concerns and Nova's hacking tendencies. Nova announces she has found Calypso using her newly developed Divergence malware, which allows teleportation to any server. She explains the technical details and mentions there is a 30-minute time limit to access the server. A rushed return home occurs in the rain, with only minutes remaining before the server access expires. The situation is urgent, leading to a quick goodbye with Penny. Upon connecting to Eternum, there is an interaction with Adriel, the game's AI. The conversation feels oddly interrogative despite Adriel's supposed programming limitations. A decision is made to join a public server called Agora. An awkward encounter occurs where inappropriate behavior is implied while someone was unconscious. The discussion shifts to an elven robe that provides magical abilities and protection from fire and bullets, though its revealing design sparks some controversy. The robe is described as having special transmogrification properties despite its provocative appearance. Nova appears and confirms their successful arrival. The group discusses how they ended up there, with Nova revealing detailed knowledge of others' schedules and routines. They examine their different outfits, which reflect the servers they were originally headed to: Nova in Hitman gear, Alex in fantasy attire, and Orion in basic Agora server clothing. The group realizes they are lost in a forest with no clear direction. Despite initial excitement about finding Calypso, they failed to plan an exit strategy. Nova attempts to maintain optimism as they begin walking, hoping to discover something useful. Their spirits start high but gradually decline as time passes. Exhaustion sets in as they continue wandering. The group discusses survival and the dangers of forced disconnection from Eternum, which can cause serious medical issues like nerve damage or paralysis. They learn that the only safe way to exit without a portal is through in-game death, though this results in losing inventory and levels. The conversation turns to Eternum's structure and leadership. They discuss the Pretorians, game police, and the fact that only Adriel and the founder have true immortality. Personal topics emerge, including Alex's complicated family relationship and her eye condition, which carries over into the game due to Eternum's ultrascan technology. The group discovers an abandoned village. All buildings are completely empty, with no traces of inhabitants or personal belongings. This seems unusual compared to other locations where Atlas weapons were previously found. The empty setting creates an eerie atmosphere as they search for clues. They find a stone altar with a mysterious box that emits a strange negative yet calming aura. The group speculates about Calypso's nature, whether it's a physical weapon, magical item, or code. Various possibilities are discussed, including wands, gloves, and bracelets, as they prepare to investigate the box further. An incredible moment occurs when someone unexpectedly catches an arrow in midair, despite having their back turned. This superhuman display of reflexes leads to shock and disbelief from others present. The amazing feat is attributed to a 100% compatibility level in Eternum, which is revealed to be extraordinarily rare, as most players don't even reach 85%. The group realizes they need to investigate the source of the arrow attack. While examining their surroundings, magical barriers are created to stop incoming arrows. The situation becomes tense as they discover they're being confronted by the Pretorians, setting up a dangerous encounter. Despite protests that no rules were broken, The Pretorians demand surrender and warn of excommunication. A connection to a mysterious case involving someone named Benjamin is revealed, suggesting deeper conspiracy. The situation becomes dire as the group realizes they're completely surrounded by archers. Fear sets in as they face possible death, but determination to survive prevails. A strategy begins to form as they identify key Praetorian leaders they need to eliminate. A powerful weapon called Dion is revealed, capable of transforming into any ranged weapon. Its true ability allows the user to teleport to bullet locations, making it an incredible tactical tool. The group formulates a plan to take out the Praetorian leaders. An epic sniper showdown unfolds as an incredibly skilled shooter demonstrates perfect accuracy. With careful calculation of distance, wind, and other factors, they achieve an impressive sequence of precision shots, proving their reputation as someone who never misses. The confrontation intensifies as true identities are questioned, with implications that some participants might be computer programs rather than humans. The tension builds to a dramatic revelation as shape-shifting abilities come into play. The battle reaches its climax with an epic transformation into a dragon form, resulting in the defeat of opposing forces. The display of power leaves everyone in awe and forces survivors to flee in terror. The aftermath reveals interesting details about magical abilities and physical characteristics, including a unique blue eye that requires special care both in-game and real-world. The group reflects on their incredible victory while dealing with the environmental challenges of their location. A group had just completed an impressive feat, expressing amazement at what they had accomplished together. There was concern about Praetorians potentially sending additional AIs across servers, suggesting they should make their escape. The group had obtained their third weapon from a list, Calypso. There was discussion about whether Ulysses, described as the world's most powerful company, had truly tried to prevent them from accessing this server. Some wondered if discovering Calypso's location, running the exploit, finding the village, and fighting Praetorians was all part of a planned challenge rather than genuine opposition. The group debated who should open a potentially dangerous box containing Calypso. After some discussion, Orion volunteered since they felt they had less to lose compared to the others if something went wrong. The box began to open mysteriously, temporarily blinding them. The box revealed Calypso, who introduced herself as the Princess of the Cytocasyr and daughter of Wenlin. This surprised the group as she displayed advanced conversational abilities uncommon for an NPC. Calypso seemed confused about her circumstances and had limited memory of how she arrived there. Calypso explained she was born with special powers and destined to free her people from immortals who had imprisoned her. She described a realm of parallel worlds with different rules of physics. The group realized she was referring to Eternum and tried explaining the concept of servers to her. Calypso wore a Demeterium shackle that suppressed her magical abilities. Alexandra, whom Calypso identified as potentially having elven heritage, helped remove the shackle using magic. However, once freed, Calypso unexpectedly paralyzed the group, suspicious of their true intentions. Calypso demonstrated her ability to communicate telepathically and read minds, focusing particularly on Alexandra. After examining their thoughts, she determined they weren't immortals and apologized for her initial distrust, explaining her past experiences had made her cautious. Calypso revealed she was 84 years old and explained elven perspectives on time and longevity. She detailed her mind-reading abilities, which could perceive thoughts and emotions but not past actions. The conversation concluded with a discussion about privacy, drawing parallels between Calypso's mind-reading and Nova's hacking activities. A conversation reveals that Nova, a skilled hacker, has been accessing others' information without permission. After being confronted about this behavior, Nova apologizes and promises to change, acknowledging their lack of experience with genuine friendships. The group accepts the apology, encouraging Nova to use their hacking abilities for good purposes going forward. The discussion turns to exploring different worlds and realms. One character describes traveling through hundreds of amazing worlds and trying to master their portal creation abilities before being trapped by immortals. They express gratitude for being freed from their imprisonment. The group discusses leaving their current location. They learn they need an exit portal to safely return to their world or risk losing everything. Calypso offers to create a portal, but warns it could lead anywhere since their powers are rusty from lack of use. A dramatic confrontation occurs when Thanatos, a top player from Eternum, appears and creates chaos. The situation becomes intense with fighting and injuries. Thanatos proves to be incredibly powerful and seemingly unkillable. Thanatos delivers a menacing speech about strength and weakness in the tournament, claiming the strong prevail while the weak perish. A fierce battle ensues with significant damage being dealt on both sides. The scene shifts to recovery after the battle. Ryan wakes up, having survived a near-fatal injury thanks to Calypso's healing abilities. The group reunites and discusses the incredible fight that occurred. Ryan struggles to remember details of the battle, only recalling intense pain from his injuries. The group describes how Ryan fought with superhuman abilities, including strange black markings appearing on his body and moving with incredible speed. A philosophical discussion ensues about the nature of different realms and reality. Ryan mentions neural implants from his world, but Calypso challenges his assumption about what defines a real world versus other realms. The group discusses their current location and escape options. Calypso admits their portal powers are limited due to long disuse, explaining they can only create portals to familiar locations but currently can't access them at full strength. The group finds themselves in a vast, dark area with only one visible light. They discuss how some servers in Eternum have infinite procedurally generated maps, though these are usually test or unfinished servers. Rather than explore this dangerous-looking place, they decide their best option is to open another gateway portal. Calypso explains that opening multiple portals in succession, especially for multiple people, is very taxing. They reflect on the importance of perseverance and trying again when things don't work out. Despite the challenging situation, one member expresses excitement about randomly traveling to different servers, including potentially exclusive VIP ones. The group prepares to enter the portal, with one member volunteering to go first to check for danger. They count down and make the jump together. Upon arrival, they find themselves in an unfamiliar place with Asian-style design elements, likely Japanese. However, they quickly realize Nova and Alex are missing from their group. They discover Nova and Alex must have been redirected to a different server during the portal jump. Calypso explains they'll need to open 2 simultaneous portals to reunite, one where they are and one near Nova and Alex. However, they need to locate them within 15 minutes or risk losing track of them completely. Meanwhile, Nova and Alex find themselves in what appears to be a castle. They're both dizzy from the portal travel and shocked to discover they've been transformed into cartoon-like characters, similar to Disney or Pixar animation style. They discuss how certain Eternum servers can automatically alter player appearances. They have a discussion about different types of servers in Eternum, including how seemingly innocent servers can sometimes hide dangerous content. The conversation makes them nervous about their current cartoon-style surroundings, though they try to reassure themselves it's probably harmless. Their situation takes a dark turn when they encounter Snuggles, a cartoon bear. Startled and on edge, Nova accidentally shoots Snuggles with Dion's weapon, which can work across any server. This leads to a confrontation with the server's Princess Annabelle, who becomes enraged at the injury to Snuggles. The seemingly cute scenario transforms into something sinister as Snuggles and Princess Annabelle reveal their true nature. The princess orders her guards to capture Nova and Alex, calling herself Annabelle the Skinner and threatening severe consequences for their actions. Back with the other group, Calypso finally manages to sense Nova and Alex's location and prepares to open the simultaneous portals for reunion. However, their relief is cut short when they realize they've been discovered in what appears to be someone's private residence by someone named Mr. Matsumoto. The scene opens in an elegant building where someone is waiting for Mr. Hiromi, who is running late. As a token of appreciation for a business agreement between clans, a mysterious gift is offered, creating an uncomfortable situation when it's revealed that some people themselves are meant to be the gift. A chaotic situation unfolds, with people yelling and expressing relief at being alive after a close call. The atmosphere is tense as someone complains about others not respecting their surroundings. There's confusion and frustration as someone named Orion appears to have abandoned their companions. An exit portal is discovered, but Nova has gotten lost, potentially ending up in another server. The group discusses their recent escape from a cartoon-themed server where they were being chased. Calypso, exhausted from creating portals, can only make one more that will allow a single person to travel to Nova's location. Despite having an exit portal nearby, the group decides to prioritize rescuing Nova rather than returning to their world. An interaction with Flutter reveals she's an NPC, an incredibly realistic AI that can't travel to the real world. Alexandra offers to help Flutter find accommodation at an inn in Escobar, a server she knows well. Calypso accepts an invitation to join the team, acknowledging they complement each other well. They discuss Calypso's inability to find their way home and their need for meditation to help remember. The group reflects on their dangerous but exciting eternal session before parting ways. There's discussion about school attendance and sibling rivalry before preparing for one final portal journey. The scene shifts to a desert environment with a sandstorm, forcing shelter in an Egyptian-style temple. The location is noted for its detailed architecture and potential for future exploration. Nova is discovered unconscious in the temple alongside a mysterious cat figurine. The figurine, deceptively light, proves to be a trap that causes unconsciousness when touched. Both Nova and the protagonist wake up to find themselves tied up, victims of the cat figurine's trap. They piece together how they both fell for the same trick. A character named Matt reveals herself as the mastermind behind their capture. She explains the Bastet figurine's sleep-inducing properties and her immunity due to wearing Sekhmet's ornament. Matt expresses excitement at having captives and refuses to let them leave. She taunts them about their desire to escape boring lives through neural implants. The situation becomes increasingly tense as Matt shows particular interest in Nova. The scene continues with Matt mocking Avery's basic equipment, particularly a dull sword. Avery explains their lack of better gear is due to spending all their savings on a neural implant. A tense situation unfolds involving a stolen gem of doom. There's shock and confusion when it's revealed that someone had announced finding another gem of doom in a public broadcast across non-combat servers. The gem was apparently lost when Thanatos took it after impaling someone with a spear. A confrontation occurs over a special gun that somehow bypassed server rules. The rules state that if the participants can provide entertainment, they'll be freed. If not, they face death and loss of all levels. The situation becomes inappropriate as the captor makes uncomfortable demands. The captives are reluctant and express their discomfort with the situation. There's discussion about the virtual world of Eternum and how people use it to explore different aspects of themselves. The captors maintain control by reminding everyone that magic spells are disabled in the oasis, preventing escape. The situation continues to be tense as the captives try to figure out a way to overcome their predicament while dealing with the restrictions placed upon them. The scene shifts to what appears to be the end of a long journey. Someone is dealing with an eye injury from sun exposure, requiring assistance to walk. They're heading toward an exit portal, reflecting on their time together and expressing gratitude for the help received. The narrative transitions to a more peaceful scene involving water butterflies in Kredon. A local legend is shared about these mysterious creatures that appear after rain and supposedly transform into clouds when they return to the sky. The cycle continues as they search for something unknown. The scene changes to a conversation in a park about someone who claims to have tricked a family into providing shelter. There's discussion about manipulation and naivety, with metaphors about puppet strings being used to describe the relationship dynamics. Two friends meet early in the morning at a park to go swimming together. One is recovering from a back injury and chose swimming as a low-impact exercise before an upcoming competition at Kredon's gym next Thursday at 5 p.m. They discuss attending and cheering each other on. The conversation shifts to discussing plans to play Eternum, a virtual reality game. Someone's mom recently got a neural implant for $100, and they plan to visit a Roman-themed role-playing server called Semper Invicta. Multiple friends, including Penelope, have got neural implants to play together. A confrontational situation develops with someone named Axel at the park. There's an exchange of hostile words and threats, with Axel making inappropriate comments about someone's appearance. The situation gets tense, but is diffused when a soccer ball is accidentally kicked. Alexandra has a heated exchange with her brother about family reputation and announces plans to move out by month's end using money from her job. The conversation then returns to swimming and discussing recovery from the back injury. Discussion turns to progress with special abilities in Eternum. Training has been ongoing daily after school, working on controlling enhanced speed and strength. The magic manifests with creepy effects and allows seeing layers of reality and hearing whispers throughout the server. A training session in Eternum focuses on combat techniques. The instructor emphasizes proper breathing, studying situations before reacting, and developing a counterattack strategy. The student shows determination to continue training despite fatigue. The conversation wraps up with discussion of homemade protein bagels made with Greek yogurt, walnuts, seeds, and protein powder. Everyone enjoys the unexpected cooking skills displayed and the delicious results, perfect for pre-training nutrition. A friendly debate unfolds about pre-workout snacks, specifically comparing protein brownies and bagels. After some playful back-and-forth discussion, Alex's bagels end up being chosen as the preferred option, though it's mentioned this choice likely doesn't have much impact on the overall storyline. The conversation wraps up with plans to play a tournament later and reminders about an upcoming competition. Ryan is noted to be on friendly terms and allowed to use the name Alex, showing improved relationships since their first meeting. Dahlia has also been nice throughout the week. The scene transitions to a rainy day, with water butterflies disappearing, a sign of incoming rain. A quick status check reveals relationship levels with various characters. Alex, Dahlia, Luna, and Penelope at 2 hearts, Annie, Nancy, and Nova at 3 hearts. The narrative shifts to finding Annie alone in the kitchen, a rare opportunity since she's usually surrounded by others. There is mention of an important previous night that needs to be discussed, as Annie has been avoiding the conversation. A major confession occurs as feelings are revealed to Annie. The confession includes that these feelings have existed since they were 10 years old, and that she was the main reason for returning to Kredon. The moment is described as both nerve-wracking and significant. Plans are made for a proper date the following weekend, clarifying that it's not just a friendly hangout, but a romantic date. Annie appears nervous but excited about this development. They agree to take things slow while exploring their new potential relationship. The scene culminates in a first kiss, described as a soft and warm moment that feels like something that had been missing all along. Despite agreeing to take things slow, this spontaneous kiss marks a significant step forward in their relationship. The scene concludes with plans to contact Nova about potential news regarding a gem of doom. When Nova finally responds, she reveals with 92-93% certainty that she's discovered another gem's location, mentioning an upcoming fancy dinner at the Boyle Mansion in the Rockefeller server. An exclusive event is being organized for the world's most influential people, including major Ulysses shareholders, political leaders, and individuals who possess gems of doom. Through exploiting weak security protocols like Telnet on the Boyle Mansion network, access was gained to the guest list through their storage server. One peculiar guest stands out, Cornelius Garrington, a wealthy businessman worth 18 billion Eternals. His invitation seems suspicious since there are richer people who weren't invited. He has no direct connections to Ulysses or other guests. However, he recently increased security at his personal vault, coinciding with the announcement of the fourth gem of doom being found. A plan emerges to acquire Garrington's gem of doom, which would result in receiving an invitation to the dinner instead. This could provide an opportunity to investigate Benjamin's death and look into other mysterious deaths. The potential to meet the founder adds another compelling reason to pursue this plan. To execute the heist, Chang is brought in as an expert planner. Despite not playing Eternum himself, Chang is enthusiastic about orchestrating the perfect robbery. His expertise with heist planning makes him an ideal mastermind for the operation. Details about the target reveal that Cornelius Garrington personally oversees multiple businesses, including a bank, casino, hotels, and other companies in the Garrington district on the New Vegas server. Has known to be meticulous, obsessive, and merciless, with extensive security measures protecting his assets. Chang estimates the heist will require 7 or 8 trusted people. The team begins to take shape with plans to include Nancy and Penelope, though they'll need training in Eternum basics. Chang commits to gathering detailed information about the bank, casino, and hotels for planning purposes. The conversation shifts to explaining Eternum's gameplay mechanics, particularly the leveling system, which functions more as a reputation system, but grants access to special abilities and upgraded equipment. High-level players are typically highly skilled and experienced. Luna joins to help train Penelope, who shows interest in magic builds and restoration magic. The team continues to grow as they coordinate training sessions at the Academy, known for its excellent magic instruction within Eternum. A group of friends express excitement about playing together all week. They have a casual discussion about color preferences between black and red, with black being the popular choice. One friend needs to leave temporarily to post content on Instagram for their followers. A concerning conversation unfolds about private photos on someone's laptop. One person appears to have accessed private folders without permission, creating an awkward situation. The person tries to downplay it, but raises more suspicion with their responses before conveniently losing connection. An endearing family moment occurs when a father interacts with his daughter and her friend, making playful comments about potential romance. The daughter gets embarrassed by her dad's comments before he leaves for work. The friends then discuss coordinating their gameplay plans. the group prepares to start their gaming session at the School of Magic. One player mentions dealing with a headache while planning to help Penelope during her first time in Eternity. They decide to get Luna to send server invites for everyone. The players discuss avatar appearances and gaming experiences. One player, Ryan, shows improvement in handling the virtual environment. They talk about motion sickness being common for new players, but assure it improves with time. The immersive realism of the virtual world impresses them. The group explores an impressive castle environment. They discuss the basic starter outfits provided by the server, with some complaints about the fashion. Luna appears wearing a stunning school uniform, which draws admiration from others. The group appreciates the realistic graphics and environment details. Professor Bundledore makes a dramatic entrance at the magic school. He warmly welcomes Luna back, offering her a teaching position. The professor then welcomes new students, transforming their regular clothes into magical uniforms that enhance their abilities. The professor introduces the Tri-Wizard Tournament, explaining that teams of 3 must collect 4 magic stamps from different subjects like charms, potions, and defense against dark arts. The first team to complete this challenge wins a special cup and secret prize. Luna provides helpful tips about the different subjects, suggesting potions and divination as easier options. She gives detailed directions to various locations within the castle. The group excitedly prepares to begin their challenge, deciding to start at the Emporium. The store was previously owned by an elderly woman who retired. A man took over but wasn't around much since he managed other shops across different servers. The new owner was described as eccentric. The shop sold various magical items including revival food, protective clothing, spell books, cauldrons, and crystal vials. A merchant named Chop Chop runs the shop with his apprentice Wenlin, a fairy. They pride themselves on having the best materials and products. Chop Chop has a distinctive way of speaking and is very focused on making money. Wenlin introduces herself as both a sorceress and skilled alchemist. The shop is participating in a school tournament called the Tribucercer Tournament. Chop Chop's challenge is simply to buy something from the store, which some view as taking advantage of the school event. Chop Chop admits it's a tiny scam but insists everyone wins. Students get stamps, and he gets money. The shop sells a wide variety of items. Wenlin has learned sales techniques from Chop Chop and demonstrates her skills. They show various products to potential customers, though some items are quite unusual and inappropriate for a school setting. Professor Mandrake, who teaches potions in the East Tower, helps source rare ingredients for the Polyjuice potion, including Striga liver. The potion is extremely rare and sought after. Wenlin offers to save a bottle for later purchase, mentioning it costs 60 Eternals per bottle. To use the Polyjuice potion, one needs a strand of hair from the person they want to transform into. Wenlin reveals she collected hair samples from some friends earlier and offers a demonstration with the remaining sample, allowing a choice between transforming into either Penelope or Luna. A magical potion that allows transformation was demonstrated, with the user attempting to take the form of another person by wearing a partial school uniform. The potion costs 60 Eternals per sip, making a full bottle quite expensive. The transformation was successful in recreating the target person's body, though only partial clothing was available. The group explored a storage room filled with unusual items, being careful not to touch anything. A special potion called Ollie Juice was reserved for future purchase. The merchant praised the customer and reminded them about payment, then provided a tournament stamp as part of the transaction. The group headed to the Potions Tower, a 14-floor building where Professor Mandrake teaches. While potions is considered an easy subject compared to other magical practices, the long climb up the tower proved physically demanding. The stairs were particularly exhausting for those with shorter legs. An exciting encounter occurred with some fans who recognized a celebrity from social media. The fans were thrilled to meet their idol and requested social media follows. The interaction highlighted the genuine and down-to-earth nature of the celebrity, who values being treated normally despite their fame. A touching conversation revealed the challenges of social media fame, including unwanted advances and monetary offers for inappropriate content. The friendship was valued because it was based on genuine connection rather than celebrity status. Upon reaching the potions classroom, Professor Mandrake, head of Snake House, presented a challenging task. Students needed to identify 3 main ingredients in a colorless, odorless potion. The challenge had a 0 success rate among previous participants. A volunteer stepped forward to taste the mystery potion, which had a sweet, liquor-like taste. The professor complimented their bravery, suggesting they would make a good Valkyrie. The potion turned out to be a truth serum that led to uncomfortable personal revelations. The potion was identified as Veritarum, which compels truthful answers to any questions. The situation became inappropriate when the professor abused the potion's effects for personal entertainment, leading to distress among the students who decided to leave. Due to the sensitive nature of the initial conversation, this section has been omitted to maintain appropriate content standards. The discussion transitions to a classroom setting where students are participating in a potion-making challenge. A group of students fail a potion-making challenge when they use an incorrect ingredient. The professor, who heads an evil-aligned house, reveals that a person downstairs deliberately gave them wrong information. Despite protests about the unfairness, the professor maintains strict classroom rules. The students negotiate with the professor for their stamp. After some discussion, the professor agrees to give them the stamp if they collect 200 Eternals owed by Wenlin. This creates an opportunity for the students to complete their task through alternative means. The group returns to the Emporium to meet with Wenlin. Despite initial distractions, they successfully collect the 200 Eternals owed to Professor Mandrake. Wenlin provides some advice about managing money for future potion purchases. The students return to the potions tower and complete their transaction. The professor honors the agreement, providing the stamp in exchange for the money. The interaction ends with some tension, but ultimate success for the students. The scene shifts to conjuration class, where the professor explains that students must defeat another team in magical combat to earn their stamp. The basic spell Increberbis Severum is introduced, with reassurance that first attempts often fail. The duel begins at the overpass. The rules prohibit direct attacks on wizards. Only summoned creatures can fight. The first match pairs level 19 Jade against level 1 Penelope, setting up an obviously unbalanced contest. Jade summons a powerful stone golem. Penelope, despite being new, successfully summons a small frog she names Kermit. Unfortunately, the battle ends quickly with Jade's golem defeating Penelope's frog, leaving her disappointed but having achieved her first successful summoning. The next duel features Luna, described as a former top conjurer from 2 years ago, against the school's current best conjurer. The opponent summons an immortal pharaoh mummy with powerful abilities, boasting about its invincibility. Luna responds by summoning a mysterious creature with a triangular head, setting up an intriguing battle between the immortal mummy and this unusual being. The duel appears to be evenly matched, despite the opponent's confidence in their mummy's immortality. An intense magical duel unfolds, where Luna emerges victorious using a powerful summoned being called Pyramid Head against her opponent's pharaoh mummy. The summoned creature can only be called once every 10 days, making it an especially impressive strategic choice. A new duel begins with one participant summoning a merciless Cyclops. The other contestant, attempting to summon something powerful, unexpectedly conjures a being named Calypso, who appears to be some kind of princess figure from another realm. Calypso reveals she had been waiting near an inn and expresses displeasure about her current situation. The conversation becomes awkward as others comment on her appearance and presence. She maintains a regal and somewhat annoyed demeanor throughout the interaction. The group tries to convince Calypso to join their quest for an important item. She reluctantly agrees to consider it, but insists that if she joins, it would only be due to boredom rather than their request. Her presence leads to their victory in the duel. The duels conclude with the team earning their third tournament stamp. They discuss needing to collect more stamps quickly as no one has claimed the final prize yet. The group remains optimistic about their chances of winning. The scene shifts to a creepy abandoned church that was formerly owned by a cult before being purchased by Professor Bundledore. The location now serves as a setting for teaching dark arts, maintaining its eerie atmosphere for educational purposes. Professor Abbott presents a challenge. Find a clay jar hidden within the church to earn his stamp. The task is complicated by the presence of boggles, shape-shifting creatures that can transform into anything, including people's fears, to distract and confuse. The team splits up to search for the jar throughout the massive church. The environment becomes increasingly tense and silent as they explore separately. One member encounters a threatening boggle and struggles to remember the defensive spell. During a tense encounter, someone appears agitated but claims to be fine when questioned. They claim to be Luna, but this seems suspicious. The realization dawns that creatures in this place can take the form of anyone, creating an unsettling situation. After noticing that 15 minutes have passed, there is discussion about returning to a meeting point while searching for a mysterious jar. A strange scenario unfolds where someone encounters what appears to be their future self. The future version presents a depressing outlook, describing physical deterioration and unfulfilled dreams. This conversation reveals inconsistencies that suggest something is not quite right about this encounter. The true nature of the future self encounter is revealed. It was actually a creature in disguise. Another deceptive encounter occurs with someone pretending to be Orion, who tries to initiate an intimate situation. The imposter is exposed when they fail to use the correct nickname Penny and make false claims about past experiences. After defeating the creatures, there is excitement about using magic and its empowering effects. The search for the jar continues throughout different locations, with hope that others might have found it already. Someone finally locates the jar and plans to return to the meeting point. A deeply emotional confrontation occurs where Luna faces what appears to be her deceased mother. The apparition accuses Luna of being responsible for her death and attempts to manipulate her with guilt and harsh words about being a monster and being alone. Someone intervenes during Luna's distressing encounter, offering support and reassurance. They explain that while the creature's boggles are convincing in exploiting fears, they can be identified through inconsistencies. The person affirms Luna's worth and reminds her that she is not alone. The group successfully completes their challenge by returning the jar to Professor Abbott, earning their fourth stamp. They discuss whether to claim their prize or continue exploring, ultimately deciding to head to the Divination Tower, which is revealed to be an old lookout tower outside the school walls. During a divination class, students encounter Professor Helga Eller, who reveals she is invisible due to a chronic illness from Eternum She explains that excessive use of invisibility potions led to her permanent invisible state on magic-enabled servers, though she can appear normal on servers where magic is disabled. Despite the condition, she maintains a positive attitude about it. The scene introduces Penelope and Luna, who are participating in the Tri-Wizard tournament. Professor Eller reveals they are only the second team to arrive for divination, which has historically been an unpopular subject. She introduces a groundbreaking technique she calls Alder's reminiscence that allows viewing of the past rather than the future. Professor Eller invites the students to test her new artifact in the basement, assuring them it is completely safe. The worst possible outcome would be that the artifact simply has no effect. Luna vouches for the professor's trustworthiness, and the group agrees to participate in the experiment. The professor introduces the Reminisce Compobulator, explaining it can show memories with total clarity, from first kisses to witnessed crimes. While most find it intriguing, one student declines to participate, expressing discomfort with exploring the past. The group must choose a volunteer for the demonstration. Professor Eller begins the demonstration with Penelope as the volunteer. The process requires closing eyes and clearing the mind of distractions while focusing on any past memory. The professor casts Serum Infecto to initiate the memory viewing process. The memory reveals a childhood scene involving pineapple, showing young siblings discussing fruits and nutrition. One child, Orion, dislikes pineapple and gives their portion away, while the other enthusiastically promotes the health benefits of fruits and vegetables. The memory shifts to show Penelope preparing for an important school dance, expressing excitement about potentially being voted dance queen and fantasizing about a romantic evening with a boy named Diego. She leaves to prepare for the event, giving instructions to younger siblings. The memory reveals a poignant scene with their mother struggling financially, worried about an upcoming job interview and maintaining the family's stability. She faces difficulties paying mortgages and tuition, showing the family's economic challenges. The memory concludes with an emotional confrontation between Penelope and her mother about attending the spring dance. Due to the mother's job interview and childcare responsibilities, Penelope is told she cannot attend, leading to a heated argument about popularity and the dance's significance in her social life. A tense mother-daughter argument unfolds about attending a dance. The mother expresses frustration about sacrifices made for her children and emphasizes the importance of a job opportunity that could help their family. She scolds her daughter Penelope for being selfish, but quickly apologizes for losing her temper, explaining she has been under stress. The situation resolves positively as the mother changes her mind, allowing her daughter to attend the dance. She recalls her own spring dance memories and wants her daughter to create similar happy experiences. The mother offers to stay home with the other children, accepting this may mean missing a job opportunity, but remaining optimistic about future prospects. After the heart-to-heart conversation, there are brief exchanges about hurrying to the dance and mentions of a boy named Diego. The scene then shifts to show the mother, Nancy Carter, making a difficult phone call to cancel a stem cell research job interview due to childcare conflicts. The narrative transitions to a light-hearted scene with children discussing magical stories about Olaf, a talking snowman. A child reveals they will be moving to Europe soon, leading to discussions about exploration and adventure. Another child takes on the persona of Delia the Explorer, complete with special glasses and a magical sword. The family scene continues with discussions about watching movies like Frozen and The Incredibles. The children negotiate for multiple movies while agreeing to clean up their toys and take baths first. The whole interaction shows a warm, loving family dynamic. The scene is revealed to be a memory viewed through a device called the Reminiscumbulator. The viewers reflect on the touching family moment with one person noting how it affected them due to their own broken family background. The memory showcase ends just before a bath scene. The group discusses future plans, including an upcoming campus costume party. While some express excitement about attending, others like Luna prefer to stay home, showing different social preferences. The scene concludes with appreciation for helping with the memory device. The group completes their challenges successfully, earning rewards including 300 Eternals. They are offered a choice between learning Restoration or Destruction magic spells. After discussion, Penelope is chosen to receive the Restoration magic spell, marking their successful completion of the tournament. A player expresses amazement at the virtual world of Eternum, noting how each visit brings new surprises despite only playing for a few weeks. The immersive nature of the game prompts contemplation about how incredible it would be if such an experience was real life. A player learns that Dahlia is heading home while discussing how mentally exhausting playing Eternum can be, even though it doesn't involve physical activity. The brain engagement makes it surprisingly tiring. The scene shifts to a marketplace where an expensive horse is being sold for 1,800 Eternals. A new player experiences dizziness and nausea in their first login. A suspicious character attempts to scam them by selling a fake Eternum Premium subscription, claiming it provides special features like customization and server changes. The scam is quickly exposed and shut down. A touching reunion occurs between Dahlia and her mom in the game. They begin exploring Semper Invicta, a server with Greek and Roman-themed cities known for serious role-playing. The tour is suddenly interrupted by the sight of a Western Roman Empire flag. A tense confrontation unfolds as Maximo and his Western Roman Empire soldiers confront Dahlia, revealing her past as a mercenary who fought against them. Despite attempts to leave peacefully, both Dahlia and her mother are arrested, unable to log off due to the game's ethical code restrictions. The scene shifts to another player who wakes up from an intense nightmare, realizing they fell asleep while waiting for Dahlia. They receive and accept an invitation to join Dahlia's session, entering the beautifully rendered ancient Roman world. The new player explores the Roman-themed environment, interacting with friendly NPCs and purchasing an apple. They head toward the Pantheon searching for Dahlia and Nancy, impressed by the server's attention to detail and authenticity. While searching for the Rotunda, the player encounters more attempted scams, including someone trying to sell fake tickets and a beggar requesting Eternals. Despite helping the beggar, the player soon discovers they've been deceived. The situation culminates in the player's arrest when trying to enter the Rotunda without proper authorization. Despite mentioning their connection to Dahlia, the guards detain them, adding to the growing list of arrests in the server. In a tense prison situation, several individuals find themselves locked up against their will. The atmosphere is filled with frustration and confusion as they try to make sense of their circumstances. Despite the challenging situation, they attempt to maintain their composure while seeking answers about their confinement. Upon waking up with a severe headache, someone discovers they are in a prison cell. The guards are under strict instructions not to release anyone. The imprisoned individuals attempt to communicate with the guards but receive no response, leading to growing frustration among the captives. The situation becomes clearer as it's revealed this is taking place in a gaming server controlled by the Western Roman Empire, WRE. One prisoner explains they were a regular on the server for years before the WRE took control. A debate breaks out about past events, including a disputed incident involving an ogre. The prisoners learn they will likely be used as gladiators in the Rotunda Munis events. This tradition was previously cancelled when the Eastern faction controlled the server, replacing it with public executions. Now that the Western Empire has regained power, they plan to resume the combat exhibitions. Victory could mean freedom for the prisoners. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the game world, a young woman named Nancy discovers she matches an ancient prophecy due to her red hair and green eyes. The prophecy states she would lead the empire to glory as a descendant of Julius Caesar. However, Emperor Claudius III twists the prophecy to make her his concubine instead of a leader. Back in the prison, the captured players discuss their upcoming gladiatorial fights. One experienced fighter shares combat advice with a less experienced companion, emphasizing proper posture, core strength, and strategic timing. They discuss the importance of training and experience in combat-oriented servers. The conversation shifts to discussion of a special server called the Cove, a peaceful beach location that requires a password for access. This exclusive area serves as a quiet retreat from the usually action-packed gaming environments. Despite friendly conversation, the password remains a carefully guarded secret. A private conversation takes place where someone shares a sensitive password, Stormblade, with another person, emphasizing the importance of trust and secrecy. The recipient promises to keep the information confidential, despite others being present in the room. A heated discussion begins about combat abilities and experience. Two individuals engage in playful banter about their fighting skills, leading to a competitive wager. One person challenges the other, claiming they will soon become much stronger. The terms of a bet are established. If one participant can't win a fight within 2 weeks, they must do the other's chores for a month. The stakes escalate as they discuss potential rewards, leading to some suggestive banter and ultimately agreeing to specific terms. The scene shifts to the rotunda, where participants learn about an upcoming fight. One person, Lady Delia, receives an exemption from fighting per the Emperor's orders, while others must participate. This creates tension as Delia expresses concern for those who must fight. The scene introduces new characters, including Nidius the Architect, and discussions about prophecies. There is talk about city design and control of the server, with hints at larger political machinations at play. The Rotunda event officially begins with an announcement marking the end of the ERE's Age of Terror and the beginning of a new era under Western Empire control. The atmosphere builds with dramatic declarations and references to glory. A confrontation occurs between two trainers, discussing their respective fighters. One trainer, Titus Dubitatius, boasts about his undefeated gladiator Gesticus, while the other expresses uncertainty about their fighter Orion's abilities. The finale match is announced between Gesticus the Decapitator and Orion. The atmosphere is tense as Orion faces his intimidating opponent, trying to maintain composure despite the pressure and crowd. The final battle begins with Orion facing a massive opponent. He struggles with activating his powers while maintaining control, remembering his training and trying to stay focused under pressure. The fight intensifies as Orion experiences a moment of clarity and control over his abilities. The narrative builds tension as he faces this crucial moment, aware that a single second could determine the battle's outcome. An intense battle takes place where magic is mysteriously disabled server-wide, leading to confusion among the participants. Someone manages to win with a single powerful blow, defying expectations. The defeated party reluctantly accepts the loss and agrees to transfer internals as payment. The victor, Orion, demonstrates impressive combat skills despite being at a lower level. After an exhausting fight, they choose to show mercy to their opponent, earning respect from observers. This act of mercy mirrors a classic gladiator scenario. A confrontation erupts when Emperor Claudius tries to punish the victor. Lady Nancy stands up to the emperor, refusing to be called his concubine. When he becomes aggressive, she responds with a decisive punch that knocks him out. According to Roman law, defeating the monarch grants the victor the throne. Nancy unexpectedly becomes the new empress. Despite feeling unqualified, she immediately shows better leadership by allowing schedule changes for family commitments, gaining support from those around her. The transition of power happens swiftly. Nancy embraces her new role while balancing real-world responsibilities. Her family reacts with surprise to her unexpected ascension to empress. She decides to stay in the game a bit longer to handle immediate imperial duties. A conversation reveals interesting details about players' real lives. One skilled gladiator works as a pharmacy operations specialist, showing how the game provides escape for regular people. The contrast between virtual and real-life identities adds depth to the gaming experience. The scene shifts to luxurious royal chambers with a relaxing bathhouse. The atmosphere is enhanced by candlelight and soothing fragrances. A private moment develops between characters, though it's interrupted by urgent imperial matters. The story concludes with plans for a heist involving a gem of doom. Preparations include coordinating with someone named Chang and attending an important dinner to gather information about mysterious gems, though concerns about potential risks of capture or excommunication linger. The scene shifts to a dark, rainy location in Sin City server, an abandoned sector that serves as the perfect meeting spot. The perpetual nighttime setting and lack of other players makes it ideal for secret planning. Nova had originally discovered this isolated area. An excited interaction occurs with an elven princess, one of the 3 weapons of Atlas. Despite royal protocols forbidding physical contact, she reluctantly allows someone to touch her ears just once, breaking traditional standards of conduct. Calypso joins the group, motivated by a sense of obligation after being rescued from imprisonment. A discussion about dress code ensues, with some members insisting on specific clothing choices, while others opt for more colorful alternatives, despite concerns about standing out. The conversation shifts to recent events in the Semper Invictus server, including a civil war and interesting developments involving an empress. Some playful banter occurs about relationships and experiences shared in the virtual world. The meeting officially begins with a call for focus. The group connects through Eternum from various locations, including a recently reopened cyber cafe known for amazing blueberry muffins. The casual conversation about food briefly interrupts the serious tone of the gathering. A massive 194-page plan is introduced, created with help from Chang, an expert in heist planning, despite not being an Eternum player. The plan considers each team member's skills, gadgets, and personalities in detail. The team composition is revealed, consisting of 9 members with varying level rankings. A brief explanation of the leveling system follows, highlighting how experience points are earned through regular gameplay and special quests. The target location is identified as the Garrington District, a wealthy area containing the Garrington Bank, Casino, and Grand Hotel. The primary target is Cornelius Garrington, a successful businessman with seemingly impenetrable security systems. The plan focuses on exploiting Bernie Garrington, the target's reckless son, who despite losing his father's trust, still maintains access to deactivate the genotronic scans of the family vault. The objective is to obtain the Gem of Doom. The planning session is unexpectedly interrupted by mysterious knocking. Despite the area being typically deserted, someone appears to have found their location. The meeting ends with tension as someone goes to investigate the suspicious noise. A mysterious knocking sound creates an eerie atmosphere. Someone arrives at the door, but when checked, no one appears to be there. The situation becomes unsettling as voices seem to disappear and an unexplained presence lingers. A young girl mysteriously appears at the door. She delivers a letter with a strange symbol and cryptically warns not to open it until the proper time. The girl mentions something about a syndicate before disappearing quietly, leaving behind many questions. The focus shifts to planning a gem heist scheduled for 9 p.m. with a strict 60-minute time limit. Despite concerns about potential setbacks, there is confidence that following Chang's plan precisely will lead to success. The group aims to celebrate in the lounge by 10 p.m. The scene jumps to someone waking up after being attacked, with a bag removed from their head. They find themselves captured and being interrogated about a failed robbery attempt. The captor shows no concern for ethical boundaries. The narrative flashes back to 9 p.m. when the heist began. A guard at the casino expresses boredom with their job while playing Minesweeper, considering a career change to bounty hunting. Two people posing as newlyweds, using the names Jupiter and Mercury, enter the casino. They claim to be Nina and Sharp, both aged 20, there to see performances and try the slot machines. They craft an elaborate story about their whirlwind romance. A new character called Venus creates a scene at the VIP area, acting entitled and threatening to post negative reviews. After verification of her social media influence, 3.8 m Twitch followers, 4 m Twitter followers, she gains access to the VIP section. The scene opens at Garrington's casino, where security protocols require ID checks. A conversation reveals someone feeling envious about a young woman getting married while they remain single at 34. The atmosphere suggests a mix of luxury and strict security measures. An interesting detail emerges about magic being disabled throughout the casino and hotel areas to prevent cheating. A new guest named Carrie arrives, stating her intention to exchange currency for gambling tokens. The staff member processing her details seems somewhat suspicious of her unusual behavior. A secret plan starts unfolding on floor 909, where someone is waiting for Bobby to appear for his usual scotch. There are instructions about going all in on the third hand, suggesting a calculated scheme. The conspirators plan to maintain a low profile until the right moment. While waiting, one of the plotters tries the slot machines, expressing shock at the high cost of 10 Eternals per spin. They win 20 Eternals, but decide to quit while ahead. Their target, Bobby, finally appears, setting their plan in motion. The scheme continues as a couple pretends to be married, with the woman appearing notably young for marriage. Bobby, their target, engages in conversation about poker games and reveals his VIP status. He offers to arrange a special game using his privileges. A private poker game begins with Bobby and Jenny Sharp, with stakes set at 100 Eternals. The game progresses with Bobby showing confidence and somewhat mocking his opponent's playing style. The tension builds as the stakes increase. The game intensifies with a shocking turn when the husband offers to bet his wife for one night against Bobby's VIP pass and money. This causes apparent relationship drama, though it's likely part of their scheme. The stakes rise to 1,630 Eternals, plus the VIP pass. The game reaches its climax with Bobby revealing a full house, thinking he has won. However, in a stunning twist, his opponent wins with 4 deuces. The dealer mysteriously disappears, revealing the elaborate con that has just taken place. The scene shifts to a new scenario involving someone claiming to represent Flex Energy Systems CEO Ivan Antonov. They insist on personally securing a confidential briefcase in the vaults, claiming prior arrangements with Garrington himself. The staff appears cautious but accommodating. Security protocols are initiated to verify the briefcase storage request. The security team confirms normal operations while checking the appointment details. The facility is described as having multiple underground levels with armed guards, emphasizing its high security nature. The bank has extensive security measures in place. There are no exit portals inside, making escape with stolen items impossible. All physical items have unique tracking numbers assigned. Personal belongings are secured in individual safe deposit boxes with unique combinations, providing double-layer security. Even the owner, Mr. Garantine, trusts the vault with valuable items. The vault employs anti-magic defenses, including a 24/7 magic blocker. Clients must pass through 3 gate controls that detect magical trickery like invisibility or other forms of deception. The security system appears comprehensive against both conventional and magical threats. A casual conversation occurs between 2 people discussing their professions. One person describes being a gaming influencer who streams on Twitch, while the other boasts about owning a hotel with private suites overlooking the casino. The conversation takes place in what seems to be an upscale setting. An entrepreneur interrupts to make a business proposition regarding an exclusive Mariani wine. The wine is specially aged using experimental time manipulation, achieving 30 years of aging in a fraction of the time. They suggest partnering with Carrington's Casino for distribution. A dramatic incident unfolds when someone drinks the wine. They experience severe symptoms including nausea, difficulty breathing, and facial swelling. The situation quickly escalates into a medical emergency as the person's condition rapidly deteriorates. The victim dies from what is revealed to be a deadly toxin. A doctor explains this poison was created by the Albanian mafia as a torture method. The toxin causes extreme suffering, including organ failure, internal bleeding, and potentially permanent neural damage in both virtual and real life. The scene shifts to the Garrington vaults, described as impenetrable with 100 feet of reinforced concrete in all directions. The facility boasts 0 successful robberies in over 1,600 days and employs nearly 100 security officers between the bank and casino. A coordinated heist begins with a diversion in the main hall. Robbers demand 10 million in unmarked bills, while snipers are positioned outside. The bank security responds rapidly, mobilizing all available units to handle the situation. The heist continues with multiple elements in play. 2 partners discuss their situation, showing loyalty by refusing to abandon each other despite the dangerous circumstances. They prepare for what they call one last dance, suggesting a final stand. The operation appears to fail as one party reveals they anticipated the distraction strategy all along. They dismiss it as an ancient tactic, implying the security team was well prepared for such attempts. The fate of those involved in the vault remains uncertain. A major heist unfolds involving the theft of a valuable gem of doom. What initially appeared as multiple attacks, including an attempted poisoning and a bank assault, were actually coordinated distractions. The thieves executed a clever 2-pronged strategy, simultaneously targeting both a bank vault and a private suite. The bank vault operation reveals an unexpected twist. It's empty, except for a mysterious cardboard with the word changed. Meanwhile, the casino guards had been redirected to the bank, leaving the private suite vulnerable despite its supposedly impenetrable security features, including magic blockers, titanium locks, and bulletproof windows. A small intruder, initially mistaken for a child, manages to access the suite through the ventilation system. This creative entry point proves crucial to the heist's success. The thieves reveal they were uncertain about the gem's actual location, necessitating simultaneous attempts at both possible locations. The escape plan involves an unusual advantage, a princess with the power to create unrestricted portals, unaffected by magic blockers. This special ability makes the exit strategy remarkably straightforward, described as almost feeling like cheating. The stolen gem appears to have connections to someone named Pluto. After the heist, the protagonist is mysteriously redirected to meet Adriel, who extends an exclusive invitation to a masked dinner at the Rockefeller server. This special event is only for Gem of Doom owners, with strict rules about violence and identity concealment. The protagonist learns they are at level 7. Several days after the heist, the situation stabilizes. Despite Garrington's likely investigation, the thieves feel secure due to Eternum's vast size and their technically legal actions under Eternum Code of Ethics. A financial breakdown reveals the operation resulted in a small net loss of 120 Eternals. The story shifts to a cafe conversation about the upcoming Boyle Mansion dinner. The protagonist invites Alex, valuing their experience with high society circles. The mandatory masks at the dinner provide perfect cover, especially for concealing identifying features like tattoos. They agree to attend together on Saturday night. The scene concludes with casual conversation about a gym competition, revealing details about athletic achievements and swimming prowess. This normal conversation provides a striking contrast to the earlier high-stakes heist, showing how the characters balance their extraordinary adventures with everyday life. A casual conversation takes place between friends about a new apartment, with some playful banter about future invitations and drinks. The interaction ends with Alex and Ryan saying goodbye to each other in a friendly manner. A scene unfolds involving confusion about finding Millie, who is reportedly in the fitness room upstairs. There's a brief language barrier moment involving Russian, followed by discussion about a competition. A conversation reveals some drama about visiting privileges and favorites being played. The discussion then shifts to upcoming plans, including a tournament, the Ulysses dinner, and a pending yoga class. Someone also excitedly mentions showing off a new expensive company car. The scene shifts to a reunion with Chang, nicknamed Heistmeister. There's discussion about a successful previous event and some light teasing about a shirt featuring someone's face. The conversation is interrupted by the start of weightlifting finals. The narrative focuses on searching for Delia, who disappeared before her competition. She's found hiding and eating a large sandwich, revealing her pre-competition nerves and insecurities about competing against Michaela. Delia discusses her superstitious concerns about competing, citing various bad omens. She receives encouragement and reassurance that these are just coincidences, not real signs to avoid competing. An awkward moment occurs when Delia's sportswear gets wet, leading to a wardrobe issue. She remains determined to compete despite the setback and goes to change clothes. The competition preparation continues with some last-minute delays. There's discussion about private servers in Eternum and maintaining secrecy about certain access codes. The fitness competition finally begins with cardio events, including burpees, pistols, and sit-ups. Michaela dominates the competition, setting a new record, while Delia shows significant improvement from the previous year despite not winning. A conversation reveals frustration over competition results, with one person feeling discouraged despite lifting impressive weights. The discussion highlights the internal struggle of comparing oneself to others, especially when considering physical differences like weight disparities. There's an interesting dynamic where one person admires the other's strength despite their slender frame. The scene shifts to someone discovering an impressive squat achievement of 350 pounds. Despite this accomplishment, the athlete remains discouraged about not winning any medals. The conversation reveals deep disappointment in competition results, despite achieving personal bests. The athlete's frustration stems from a year of dedicated training without winning recognition. The discussion takes an unexpected turn when someone mentions winning a medal in an air guitar competition. This lighter moment provides comic relief and highlights how people can find success in unexpected places. The conversation then returns to the main competition, revealing that an athlete named Aquila dominated the trials. The final trial is revealed to be an MMA fight. Initially worried about facing Michaela, there's relief when learning the opponent is Brock, who weighs similarly. The gym emphasizes diversity and inclusivity in their competitions. This news brings renewed hope and confidence to the competitor. The pre-fight scene shows Brock displaying impressive moves, including a signature high kick. Despite some nervousness, Dahlia remains determined. The fight setup reveals both competitors' weights, with trash talk escalating tensions before the match begins. The fight concludes with Dahlia landing a powerful neck kick, initially appearing to win. The victory celebration includes an impulsive kiss, leading to awkward explanations about friendship versus dating. However, the celebration is short-lived when officials review the match. The victory is overturned due to an illegal throat strike, resulting in Brock's win by disqualification. This leads to inappropriate taunting and mockery from Brock, causing emotional distress to Dahlia. The situation escalates with tension building among spectators. The aftermath involves a confrontation where Orion stands up for Dahlia, resulting in a physical altercation with Brock. Chang, introducing himself as a lawyer, attempts to manage the situation. The scene demonstrates loyalty and friendship despite the disappointing competition outcome. The story shifts to a search for Dahlia after the incident. Orion contemplates whether to give her space or offer support, reflecting on their earlier moment of connection during her brief victory celebration. The final scene takes place by a calm sea, where Dahlia is found reflecting. An unexpected conversation about octopuses and nature leads to a touching moment about friendship and support. Despite breaking a promise about visiting this special place without permission, the gesture shows care and concern for a friend in need. The conversation kicks off with an interesting discussion about octopuses. These fascinating creatures actually have 6 arms and 2 legs, not 8 legs as commonly believed. In a desperate situation, they can actually eat their own arms, which will regenerate over time. Pretty wild stuff. More cool octopus facts emerge. They have 3 hearts and blue blood, earning them a royal status comparison. These creatures are considered the smartest invertebrates around. It's even suggested that if they lived longer, they could potentially rule the world. Talk about mind-blowing. The conversation shifts to childhood memories of an aquarium visit at age 7. There's a nostalgic reflection about dreaming of becoming an ocean explorer and discovering sea monsters. These memories were recently recovered through some kind of memory device. The discussion turns nostalgic, reminiscing about simpler childhood days when dinner choices were the biggest worry. There's a cute mention about wanting to survive on just candy and potato chips. Totally relatable childhood dream. The mood becomes more serious as feelings of inadequacy about a recent competition loss surface. There's concern about being judged for being upset over something that might seem trivial to others, but it clearly means a lot. Support is offered through recognition of dedicated training efforts, early morning practices, detailed gym programs, and worn-out sneakers. The message is clear. It's totally valid to feel upset after putting in so much effort. Deep insecurities are revealed about feeling average and only being good at sports. There's a heartfelt confession about not feeling special in areas like humor, intelligence, looks, or artistic abilities. The competition loss has intensified these feelings of inadequacy. The conversation turns encouraging, emphasizing that worth isn't tied to being the best at something. There's pushback against this encouragement, though, with mentions of academic achievements and special abilities that seem to create more self-doubt. The interaction becomes more playful as one person physically prevents the other from continuing negative self-talk. There's a cute moment of forced self-affirmation, making someone repeat that they're amazing. The conversation ends on a sweet note with compliments about being funny, generous, kind, and strong. There's some mild flirting and reference to a past kiss, creating an awkward but endearing moment before wrapping up.